I'm making movies at Marvel. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 27, Natasha Romanoff. I'm very happy with the skin. Fourth update. Is that how Nick Fury reacted? Romanov agent. Levi is not interested in acting with Natasha Romanoff. I know, but I don't tell you. I'll just watch your play. I should cooperate with your performance, but turn a blind eye. More money. Besides, according to Levi, little revelation from Phil Coulson, Levi probably also guessed Nick Fury's plan. In addition, a small shrimp was sent over Ward. After seeing Ward, Levi cleared his mind. So let's show it off. If you really want to act, then act well. Just for fun. Then don't waste my time. I make hundreds of thousands per minute, all right, up and down. Being suddenly called out by Levi, Natasha Romanoff didn't seem very panicked, but just took a deep look at him and then smiled. What's the matter, great director? Are you not happy to have a beautiful actor with outstanding acting skills like me? Natasha Romanoff whispered in Levi's ear. The warm breath sprayed against Levi's ear, and with a puff, the long gun was raised directly after overtime work. If it weren't for Levi's habit of wearing loose and comfortable clothes, he might have worn his trousers through the top and a big hole was broken. However, even so, the huge amounts of tent also made the atmosphere instantly awkward. Cluck. Natasha Romanoff laughed unabashedly, amused by Levi's slapstick. Levi was a little embarrassed, but he couldn't do anything about it. After strengthening, his body has greatly improved in all aspects. Needless to say, physical endurance and so on. The impulse that belongs to young people has also returned. Therefore, he did not expect this sudden accident. Cough. Well, stop teasing you. Listen to me. Nick didn't give me any tasks. I just came to monitor you, to see if you might pose a security threat, so you don't have to be overly cautious. While talking, Natasha Romanoff climbed to Levi's side again. Although the opening of the collar in the front is not too low, it doesn't prevent the distance between the two of them being too close. Moreover, Natasha Romanoff is kneeling on the seat. The posture, the two groups of white 11 angling soft flesh in front of Hannah are almost completely exposed to Lewi's eyes, and her breath, that seemed to have a strong wicking effect, rushed directly into Levi's nasal cavity, making his breathing instantly heavy. You're playing with fire. You know very well that, if I really want to do something, you won't be able to resist. Natasha Romanoff raised her eyebrows. She was playing with fire, but in fact she was very calm in her heart. She was examining Levi's bottom line. Everyone has their own bottom line. The bottom line for law and morality point. Although Nick Fury didn't give her any tasks, just let her play it by ear, but the pride in her heart made her unwilling to do so. Her background has always been a nightmare for her, and she joined S.H.I.E.L.D. Redemption in the past, so she almost never refuses Nick Fury's mission request, and even does better, just because of the guilt in her heart. And now, she is also testing on the verge of death. Then are you on fire? Natasha Romanoff lowered her head and landed next to Lewi's ear, gently licking Lewi's bloodshot and extremely sensitive earlobe with the tip of her soft tongue. Hiss. Levi's eyes turned red in an instant. T-Virus's absolutely unreasonable babble made his body feel like it was burning. A raging flame was burning his reason, burning away his last sliver of control. Squeal. The front of the car swayed, and under the influence of Levi's super control and motor nerves, the yellow Camaro directly left the main road and rushed into the wilderness on the side of the road. Ah, what are you doing? Natasha Romanoff looked at Levi, who completed the parking brake operation in an instant, and her scalded eyes. A little panic surged in her heart for no reason, but the equipment under the clothes and her excellent agent skills gave her a little confidence point. She definitely won't do mindless things, and she is confident that she can control the situation if it happens. She doesn't intend to lose the application, even if the last ceremony of graduation from the Red House is to remove the symbol of a woman, the uterus. But this doesn't mean she's a slut. Sacrificing appearance is the most common method used by female spies, but the real top female spies are well versed in the tricks of playing hard to get. To put it bluntly, they are the top white lotus flowers, not the top courtesans. The former may hang 1,000 men, but no man can touch a finger of them. This is especially true for Natasha Romanoff. She is more like an agent than a spy in many cases. She uses violence more than she uses charm, and most of the time she is directed at others. A smile can get him hooked, and then, it's torture. I told you, you're stubborn. The Yuang that was about to explode made Levi very uncomfortable. Although the strengthening serum he injected would not cause T-virus leakage and infection, the side effects still existed. That is, Yuang was difficult to control. Just like the super soldier serum used by the captain in the Red Skull, that serum will amplify the character of the original. The kinder the better, the worse the evil. And Levi T-virus made him burn. Celebrate the 7-day-long holiday of National Day and enjoy reading books. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge. Activity time. October 1st to October 7th. Chapter 29 Overtake my car. You are afraid to be Shilesi. Second update. Damn it. Just tasted some delicious Levi Kirsten Woodley. Natasha Romanoff's sudden outburst and lack of cooperation made him have to spend a lot of energy to restrain her. But this car is not so spacious that he can't use his hands and feet. Damn it, stop moving. Levi shouted angrily, grabbing Natasha Romanoff's arms with both hands, looking directly at Natasha Romanoff's face with scalded eyes. But, to his surprise, Natasha Romanoff was staring at him blankly. Nicknamed Black Widow, this woman, at this moment, actually has one key hung in her eyes. You don't think this will make me stop, do you? The flame in Levi's heart suddenly fell a little. If a man's bathing fire is the red lotus karma that burns the sky, then a woman's tears are 3,000 weak waters that can drown everything. Natasha Romanoff didn't respond to Levi, but just turned her head away, and when she moved, the 2 accumulated drops of clear spring slowly slid down her smooth face. Hiss, is this for real? Reason tells Levi that this is Black Widow. This is the #1 female spy in the world, and this is a 10th level agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. Never believe every word of her, and every expression of true feelings is the correct way to get along. However, intuition, or feeling, Levi felt that she really remembered some past events that made her sad, heartbroken, and even frightening, and she was really sad to the point of crying. It doesn't matter, fuck her, she is here to spy on you. Plot against you. Fuck her. No way. Is a woman in this state of rape still a human being? It's not as good as a beast. And what's the difference between that and a corpse? It's a beautiful corpse at most, and it's not as good as a beautiful airplane cup. At least that kind of cup can still spin and vibrate. At this moment, Levi's heart is extremely entangled, and with his entanglement, naturally, his irresistible fire is slowly cooling down, and the little brother who is not afraid of wind and rain also begins to rest. Matt, labor and management are still individuals, not beasts. Levi scratched his head, but no matter how he thought about it, he felt uncomfortable. Finally, he sat back in his seat angrily, restored the seat, started the car, and drove back to the main road. But Natasha Romanoff, who escaped unharmed, gave him a suspicious look, then smiled, and the crabapple bloomed in an instant, and the whole car seemed to be much brighter. Natasha Romanoff sat up straight, adjusted the seat, and fastened the seatbelt. While peeking at the angry Levi, while arranging her clothes, she suddenly saw the wet marks on her chest, showing a trace of shyness on her face. Then he took a peek at Levi, and saw that he didn't pay attention to him at all, just driving there in a daze, and even pouted his lips, with some dissatisfaction in his eyes. Whoosh. After returning to the main road, there were more cars on the road. Levi, who was sulking, suddenly saw a car passing him, and the flame in his heart, that had no wet vent, was ignited. Damn. It dared to overtake Leo's car. Boom, boom. The engine roared violently, and then rushed straight out like a galloping bison. TCH. Hot chicken. Seeing the lifeless car being thrown away, Levi spat in disdain, but he didn't slow down at all when he was interested, and continued his drag racing journey. The cars on the road were overtaken by him one after another. He has harvested countless middle fingers and fork, but his mood has unexpectedly improved a lot. Suddenly, a silver Ferrari Enzo appeared beside him. Hey, brother, it's a good drive, but you can only eat my ass, haha. The car window was rolled down, and a cynical man with a mustache seemed to say something to Levi appreciatively, but after finishing the last sentence, He stepped on the accelerator, and immediately, the whole person rushed out and past Levi. Fuck. Mazafak, don't run away. Levi's anger that had just subsided suddenly soared to the highest level, and then he completed the shifting and accelerating action within half a second. The whole car was like a wild horse that had run loose. It was not a bison anymore. The bison was too slow. A wild horse that has sprouted wings. The yellow Camaro flew out like a runaway wild horse that grew wings, and the intense roar of the engine resounded throughout the road. A few seconds later, the silver Ferrari appeared beside him in front of, shit, you still want to get rid of me, eat my ass. He also rolled down the car window, and after Levi pointed a middle finger at the other party, he accelerated again, immediately leading the other party by one parking space, and then continued to move forward. Water fake. In the Ferrari, next to the playboy, a man who was scantily dressed, or a sexy slim girl who had just finished complimenting her, was suddenly slapped in the face, and she naturally understood what it meant. Immediately, her face turned pale with fright, and she quickly grabbed the handrail above the car window. Mr. Stark, no, celebrate the 7-day-long holiday of National Day and enjoy reading books. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge. Activity time, October 1st to October 7th. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 30 Tony Stark with a strange brain circuit. Third watch. Do not. The girl's voice didn't have any effect, because, in the next second, the man with a mustache, who had just taken over his own Stark group within a few years, had already increased the company's market value several times, and Tony Stark, who was in the limelight, was like an enraged bull. He stepped on the accelerator hard. Boom. Blue flames spewed out from the exhaust pipe, and this super sports car with high horsepower, which was born entirely for excitement, immediately turned into a silver phantom and moved forward. Oh, he's angry, but he wants to catch up with me? Then he needs to practice more. Through the rearview mirror, Levi saw the silver Ferrari rushing to catch up. The corners of his mouth were slightly raised. He knew countless knowledge, including drag racing. Most importantly, after strengthening, he had various functions of the body, especially the nerve response. The speed and coordination are much higher than that of ordinary people. If the knowledge is in ordinary people, it may be just knowledge, but for him, it can be perfectly applied. Point switch gears like a gust of wind, and then step on the accelerator to speed up. Although the performance of the car may not be as good as that of the more expensive Silver Phantom, the gap between people allows Levi to still maintain the lead under the stimulation of the pursuers behind. That is, Natasha Romanoff's complexion has returned to normal. She doesn't care about Levi's wayward behavior, but the chasing vehicle behind her suddenly noticed something is wrong. Natasha Romanoff turned her head to look behind her, and a familiar face came into her eyes. Oh, you seem to have provoked a great opponent. Even though the current Tony Stark is not the future president of the Stark Group that has created a market value of 100 billion, but because of Howard Stark's relationship, Tony is considered an extremely important person in S.H.I.E.L.D.'s list. As the trump card of S.H.I.E.L.D., Natasha Romanoff naturally knows the character named by Nick Fury, and naturally understands his wonderful deeds. Don't worry, in this field, no one who can defeat me has yet to be born. Levi smiled confidently, and Natasha Romanoff looked at his proud face. The expression on his face also slowly changed, and the inexplicable meaning in his eyes became even stronger. Although she didn't dare to challenge Levi's endurance, Natasha Romanoff's style that seemed to come from the bottom of her heart made her unable to bear it. If you win, I can give you a small reward. Just treat it as compensation for your brave retreat just now. Natasha Romanoff chuckled. Levi, who was concentrating on driving, turned his head and glanced at Natasha Romanoff. His pretty face and extremely alluring posture made him curse secretly. Little goblin. Unknowingly, Levi's spirit became more and more concentrated. The idea of just letting off steam and playing with others by the way turned into a must to win this round at this moment. Whoosh, whoosh, the Two sports cars galloped on the road, as if there was no one around, but after a while, the distance from the urban area to the suburban seaside was completed, and Levi kept leading. Even if the people behind wanted to grit their teeth, they couldn't catch up. At most, barely hanging behind Levi. That's because his car's performance is even better. Hey, this guy really doesn't want to give up. He's almost chasing after me. After galloping for a long time, Levi's anger gradually dissipated. Seeing the mansion not far ahead, Levi began to slow down, and within a few seconds, the silver supercar caught up. Hey, brother, stop chasing me. I'm already home. Maybe you should consider giving up driving. Maybe you can change the plane and compare with me next time. Although the outcome is decided, Levi is not willing to let it go. When they saw the other party catching up, they also started to slow down, and immediately began to taunt. Natasha Romanoff patted her forehead. She forgot to tell this guy. That guy's not easy to mess with. Oh, this guy's not easy to mess with. That's even more troublesome. The car window rolled down slowly, and the first thing Levi saw was a pale bloodless sexy girl, but at the moment, her appearance was not very sexy, but rather ugly. What's your name? The familiar mustache face appeared, and both Levi and Natasha Romanoff were very surprised that this guy didn't fly into a rage or curse, but looked at him strangely and asked his name. What's the situation? Levi turned his head to look at Natasha Romanoff, who shook her head, indicating that she didn't know. Listen, if you want to find a chance to get revenge on me, you'd better dismiss this attention. Although supercars are expensive, I'm not afraid of anything. Before Levi finished speaking, he heard the mustache say again, hey, you are right. This car is not suitable for me. It is more suitable for you. I plan to give it to you as the price of underperforming. How about it, me, Walter? Levi's forehead was full of question marks, and he was about to say that he was not afraid of revenge, but he wanted to send a car. Wait, our brain circuits are on the same line. Levi thought he had encountered some face-slapping plot of pretend in an urban novel. After he won, he drove a supercar, and the other party who beat him by a dozen cars was upset. He wanted to use his power to teach him a lesson, and then he was punished a counter-slap point. But why doesn't this play out according to the routine? Celebrate the 7-day-long holiday of National Day and enjoy reading books. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge. Activity time. October 1st to October 7th. Chapter 31. It's just a car worth more than 10 million yuan, and my father hates it. 4 more. The two cars parked slowly on the side of the road. There were no other vehicles or pedestrians on this road, because this road only leads to 2 houses, one of which is Levi's home. The car door opened, and Mustache stepped out. Levi looked at this weird guy, and suddenly his heart moved. This walking posture, the iconic mustache, and this serious dress, no matter how you look at it, you look like that guy. Sure enough, in the next second, the bohemian mustache spoke. Hello, Tony Stark. Levi. Levi reached out and shook his hand. So you are my neighbor? Tony pointed to the mansion not far away. There are only a few houses around Malibu Beach, and Tony's mansion is less than 2 kilometers away, so it is not wrong to say that Levi is his neighbor. Well, Mr. Stark. Levi smiled slightly. Oh, almost forgot. Here is the key. From now on, this car is yours. What do you do, racing driver? Tony seemed to remember something, then handed the key to Levi. He did what he said. Levi technology deeply impressed him. He is not a fool. The performance of the 2 cars is very different, but no matter how hard he tried, couldn't catch up with Levi. For a person like him who likes racing and excitement, it is not surprising to make such a move. Oh, are you going to walk home? Well, walk 2 kilometers. Maybe you have completed today's exercise goal. Levi didn't take the keys. I'm a director. Drag racing, to me, is just one of countless hobbies. So save your car, Stark. After getting acquainted with the future Avengers Alliance boss, Levi directly opened the car door and sat in. After starting the car, he poked his head out again, looked at Tony standing by the roadside, and said loudly, "Remember, fly over next time." Beckoning to Tony, Levi stepped on the accelerator, and after a roar, the Camaro disappeared from Tony's vision like a bolt of lightning. Why? Don't you want his car? More than 15 million Ferrari Enzo. If I remember correctly, your movie box office share is only so much. Natasha Romanoff watched Levi park slowly into the garage and asked aloud. Come on, that's Tony Stark. Do you know what he did with how many women he did in that car? Maybe there's a good genetic factor from the Stark family in one of the chairs. Levi said with a smile. After seeing Natasha Romanoff give him a blank look, he added. Besides, it's only 15 million. Is it a lot? You also said that it's just a movie's box office share. I have many new movies here. Levi, who had already got out of the car, tapped his finger on the head. By the way, it seems that you forgot something. Seeing Natasha Romanoff stepping out of the car, Levi suddenly stopped in front of her, breathing in her unique breath that smelled like orchid and musk, which made people's flames start to rise involuntarily, as if a bundle of dry wood was thrown into the fire. It's there? I don't remember. Natasha Romanoff saw Levi start to breathe heavily. Her heart tightened suddenly, but she said calmly on her face. Oh, well, cheating. A woman's patent. Levi opened his arms and said helplessly. He just turned around and was about to enter the room, but unexpectedly, a pair of cold red wines suddenly reflected on his face, pecked lightly like a dragonfly on water, and then quickly moved away, but the misty wisp lingered at the tip of his nose, and it did not dissipate for a long time. This is your award, Mr. Director. At night, when Tony returned home, he leaned on his chair, still thinking about the Camaro that seemed to never catch up in his mind. Jarvis, search for Zhang Allen, director. A few seconds later, a magnetic voice suddenly sounded. Sir, there are 1,700 search results. Director Levi, representative work, Resident Evil show. Me. Tony sat up straight, and on the virtual projection screen in front of him, one picture after another quickly appeared, and a large number of stills and promotional pictures about Resident Evil appeared, of which the two leading actors were naturally indispensable, the Red Goddess Alice played by Skye, and the big villain Spencer Parkers played by Levi. Wow, what the hell is this? Tony frowned. Apart from the two leading actors, the most pictures were of those ugly and terrifying zombies and the lickers with their brains exposed. This curious look made Tony feel sick to his stomach. However, after learning about the plot of the film, Tony became interested. Jarvis, where can I watch this movie now, sir? The screening in North America has ended, and it is still showing in Southeast Asia and a few parts of Europe. However, in North America, DVD and Blu-ray discs are already on sale. Well, let Pepper come back with a disc. Oh, and let her bring a cheese pizza by the way. Double cheese. Celebrate the 7-day-long holiday of National Day and enjoy reading books. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge. Activity time. October 1st to October 7th. Chapter 32. The Red Queen's inspiration to Tony. One more. Oh, Omega. Pepper, who has beautiful blonde hair, covered her eyes and curled up on the sofa. She was vaguely moving towards a not so broad embrace. Well, would you like a piece? Tony chewed the pizza and did not forget to invite Pepper to enjoy it. Oh, Mega, Tony, I really don't understand why you want to watch this kind of film and it's still during dinner. The woman in the water tank finally passed by. Pepper straightened her clothes, restored her previous dignity, and looked at her boss with a puzzled expression. Well, it's nothing. I met a very interesting person today, and this movie is very interesting, isn't it? Tony thought back to the Red Queen who appeared in the camera just now. The movie mentioned artificial intelligence, not intelligent programs. In fact, at present, it is too early to talk about artificial intelligence in the field of electronic computing. As the field of electronic computing experts, Tony, who developed the interactive intelligent program Jarvis in his teens, is undoubtedly the most vocal. However, even his Jarvis, an intelligent program with the potential for self-development, is absolutely unable to make decisions based on its own will and judgment. Every action of Jarvis must get his permission. It can analyze according to the situation, but it cannot make decisions. This is the fundamental difference between intelligent programs and artificial intelligence. The difference between a machine and a human is that every step a human makes is determined by itself. However, a machine must be programmed by humans. If the program does not set its behavior, it will not do it of. For example, if Tony sets up a medical rescue program for Jarvis, then when he is injured and unconscious, Jarvis will take the initiative to provide rescue, bandage him, and call the emergency call for him. However, if Tony hadn't installed this program, then even if Tony fell unconscious within its monitoring range, and within its reach, it would remain indifferent. In the movie, Tony, who was restrained by a bad A and robbed of the reactor, collapsed powerlessly on the ground. His heart was about to stop beating, but Jarvis, who controlled the entire room, did not respond at all. Tony scolded stupid and stupid derpy, the robot, who offered to help. This is because Jarvis is just an auxiliary program, and Zyode, mentioned in the movie, is the real product of Tony's attempt to make artificial intelligence. As for the active stress response of Jarvis when fighting against Ultron, it was mainly because the program of Jarvis was also evolved when Ultron's program was written. Can artificial intelligence really do this? Tony looked at the Red Queen, who was negotiating with the protagonist and others on the screen, feeling puzzled. For him, the impact brought by the Red Queen is still higher than that of zombies. Although he is also involved in the field of biology, he is best at electronic information and electrical engineering. Definitely, this is also relative to others. Even if he is not good at the field of biology, he can write the original code of Extremis after a quick reading point. While Tony was busy watching movies and eating pizza, a newcomer's moved into the house at Levi, house less than 3 kilometers away from him. Well, hello, this is Natasha Romanoff, Miss Natasha Romanoff, oh, or rather, Agent. Natasha Romanoff smiled and waved to everyone. Agent? Sky looked at Levi suspiciously. Levi quickly explained, as if he remembered something. Oh, Natasha Romanoff is a senior agent from the Homeland Strategic Defense Attack and Logistics Support Agency. Her level is level 10. In other words, she is the most powerful in the whole world. Regarding Levi remarks, Sky was non-committal. Her life was too far away from what kind of agent or intelligence agency. In her opinion, Levi was totally joking, and she just smiled and nodded, expressing that she cooperates with your performance. After Wanda and Quicksilver looked at Natasha Romanoff for a while, they both looked solemn, but after receiving Levi's hint, they suppressed their doubts. Natasha Romanoff stayed like this. In fact, this is the result of Levi deliberation. He doesn't want to be disturbed. Because of this, at this stage, it is not wise to have a bad relationship with S.H.I.E.L.D. so, instead of getting rid of Natasha Romanoff and letting Nick Fury find another person to watch him, it's better to make it clear that Natasha Romanoff lives here and let Nick Fury's eye always look at him. Definitely, Levi might not have let go of his coveting for this enchanting stunner. It's so close to the water, and if he keeps it by his side, there will naturally be more opportunities for Levi to make a move. Okay, big director, can you tell me about your arrangement for me? After settling down, everyone went to their own business. Only Levi and Natasha Romanoff were left in the living room. After learning the lesson, Natasha Romanoff didn't dare to get too close. Now it's not outside. If he goes crazy, Natasha Romanoff can guarantee that she will never go out alone today. So, Natasha Romanoff sat on the couch at least 2 meters away from Levi. However, she was barefoot in cool clothes, curled up with a pair of slender legs, but it made her extraordinary figure even more prominent. Celebrate the 7-day-long holiday of National Day and enjoy reading books. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge. Activity time, October 1st to October 7th. Chapter 33rd. Adapting the Wonder Woman script. Second update. Gudang. Little Goblin. Cursing secretly in his heart, Levi walked to his desk and did not look at Natasha Romanoff. He was afraid that he could not help turning into a beast. Although Sky and Wanda accepted each other, it did not mean that they would not accept it. In a few days, there was another bed partner. About your arrangement, I'm definitely prepared. There are 2 options. One is to transform into a female warrior. In this drama, the heroine plays a very important role. Moreover, the image is extremely tough, and the requirements for acting skills are quite high. So, I think I can entrust it to you. There is another movie, although it is also an action movie, and the protagonist is female, but there are many more elements of being handsome and cool. So, which one do you choose? It is more hardcore. Be like a predator. Or, be a beautiful warrior. The corners of Levi's mouth raised slightly. He didn't tell Natasha Romanoff which two films they were in, so he naturally dug a hole for her to dance in. However, it was obvious that she underestimated this woman's integrity. I'll choose the pretty one. Natasha Romanoff stretched her waist, raised her slender and strong arms upwards, and a pair of babies on her chest were about to emerge under the cover of her clothes. That's it. I'm going to take a shower and go to bed. Good night. Great director. Go to bed late, but the natural enemy of a woman's appearance, the slender legs are constantly crossed, and the light catwalk makes Levi's heart tickle. I have to admit, compared to the two immature girls at home, this woman is too goblin. Okay then, let's do this. Levi put the script on the table. This is the original script. However, after he took over, the scripts will be adapted according to the actual situation, and this one is no exception. Wonder Woman, Diana. The plot of the battle against Ares is a little brainless, and some changes need to be made, and Ares is actually her big brother. Such an image of an old man is not very suitable. That of Steve, I don't like the character either. Levi tapped his pen, and the ability of a god-level screenwriter is working. It's not as good as this. The role of Steve was adapted into Ares. In order to solve the people in Paradise Island, Ares sealed his own divine power, turned into a mortal, and entered Paradise Island. After successfully hanging Diana out, after toying with her, he fell in love with her, and was accidentally discovered by Diana about his purpose and identity. Ares wanted to show Diana the true face of human beings, but Diana still chose to help humans, and the two finally fought. TSK. Compared with the brainless plot of the original, this is very interesting. Two brothers and sisters who love and kill each other, and, with this, it is just the beginning of the DC movie universe. Just like the Captain, it started during World War II. Levi thinking was flying, and the pencil in his hand was writing quickly on the paper. After a while, a new story was completed. To be honest, there is basically no problem with Gal Gadot like Wonder Woman, from modeling to special effects and casting. The only problem is the plot. The early stage was too long. The relationship between Steve and Diana developed inexplicably, and Ares' rebound in the end was even more unexpected. This unexpected is not a compliment, but really unexpected. Matt, the conspiracy has not been revealed yet. Why are you jumping out? Everyone guessed for a long time that it was General Adolf, but it turned out that you were lucky and you jumped out to tell your sister that you found the wrong person, and the person you should kill is me. Why? It's uncomfortable not to be cut, right? To be honest, when Levi first watched it, he only thought that Ares had a brain hole. At first, Diana thought that she had succeeded and killed Ares, but then she found that humans were still fighting, and her mentality was messed up. It's good for you. Jump out and say, haha, you can't think of it, big idiot. I'm here point. If he doesn't come out, give Diana a little more time. Maybe Diana, who has seen human beings killing each other, really gives up and is ready to go home point at that time. Ares has really accomplished his goal, but you can't hold your breath. People are still wondering why it's useless to kill the big boss, and you are there with half belief to feel sorry for yourself, but you come out to do a wave of operations, directly raise Diana's fighting spirit, and play herself to death. Isn't this crazy? Not only that, but many of the plots in this drama seem a bit confusing, such as the Poison Master, the woman who developed the poison gas, spent so many shots describing how cruel they are, and spent so long talking about the General Adolf how cruel. Well, after meeting Diana, click, it's gone point. What about brain damage? Treat the audience as idiots. If it weren't for the long legs and the BGM support, it is estimated that the score of this drama would definitely hit home, and DC's last hope of turning around would be extinguished. But now, after Levi has dealt with it, the plot of this drama will be much fuller. At least, some of the more mentally retarded plots will not appear again. If it is handled well, this drama will definitely be better than the original. In another world, even more hot points. Celebrate the 7-day-long holiday of National Day and enjoy reading books. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge. Activity time, October 1st to October 7th. Chapter 34. What I'm best at is making the impossible possible. There's nothing wrong with casting Natasha Romanoff as the Wonder Woman of this world. Levi has already solved the problem of the script, and in terms of image, as a superhero movie, there is no problem with handsome men and beautiful women. Definitely, some people may think that Black Widow playing Wonder Woman is a bit inconsistent, but in fact, the Natasha Romanoff of this world is not the one in Another World movie. If you really want to say it, the Black Widow played by Scarlett is actually not the same as the Black Widow in the comics. Even very different point. Scarlett's version of Natasha Romanoff is charming enough, but her heroic spirit is a little bit less. Just like she can't do things like stabbing people with a sword and a shield, because you will feel that it doesn't match her appearance. Point. In fact, in the comics, Natasha Romanoff was the one who lifted Mjolnir's Valkyrie. Point. Moreover, Scarlett's petite physique makes her look far from Diana's image, but in fact, Natasha Romanoff is a Slav, and she is a Black Widow trained by the Soviet intelligence organization. Her image must be far taller than Scarlett, and more heroic in action. So, it's perfectly fine for her to play Diana, because she's not Scarlett, she's Natasha Romanoff. There are also clothing and styling. Well, the location of Paradise Island also needs to be considered. I need an island. Hey, when I think of an island, I think of another series. Pirates of the Caribbean are also big money grabbers. Since the system only looks at the box office, Levi can basically only focus on commercial blockbusters, and among them, series films are undoubtedly the best goal, because if they can be made into series films, it means that they have made money before. Otherwise fools will continue put money in, and pay for it. As for the series of blockbusters that Levi is currently holding, the Marvel series will definitely not be able to be filmed, otherwise S.H.I.E.L.D. will come to the door tomorrow, and even heroes and villains from all sides will come to the door. Then, there are not many series that can be produced. Naturally, Pirates of the Caribbean cannot be missed. Captain Jack has created a generation of legends. Hey, when it comes to sailing, I think of the man who is going to become the One Piece. The comic company has to put it on the agenda, otherwise what about the cartoon? After a few days of leisure, Levi suddenly found that he had a lot of things to be busy, and he was full of energy, and he was not ready to rest, so he sat at the desk to write and draw, and the night passed like this. Well, that's all. Stretching, Levi, who hadn't worked hard for a long time, straightened up and moved around. It's dawn. Looking at the already bright sky outside, Levi put away the manuscripts on the table, and then went to the kitchen. After a while, a burst of food aroma wafted from the kitchen. Well, what does it smell like? Natasha Romanoff, who didn't bring a change of clothes, was still dressed coolly. She was used to getting up early, and walked down the stairs slowly, but the aroma completely woke her stomach up. Wow, it's buns and dumplings. Natasha Romanoff's eyes lit up. As a senior spy, she can't help but understand Chinese, and she has been to that country many times to perform missions, and her deepest memory of that country is the variety of delicacies you can cook. Natasha Romanoff couldn't wait to sit down, like a kindergarten kid, watching Levi bring a large pot of millet porridge, as well as several baskets of steamed buns and fried dumplings to the table with anticipation. To be honest, there are really good things in this world that I don't know. Well, maybe having a baby is one. After Levi said this, he regretted it. Sure enough, when he looked at Natasha Romanoff, he found that her face, which was originally full of joy, suddenly turned gloomy, and the soft and delicious buns were about to be crushed by her. Hey, sorry, I didn't mean to mention this. This is Natasha Romanoff's sad, or rather, her biggest not point. After graduating from the Red House, the last step is to remove the uterus, which means that a woman is deprived of her greatest happiness, the right to be a mother. Well, hey, if you are interested, let me tell you first, it may not be possible. I may be able to help you heal that. Natasha Romanoff, whose complexion had returned to normal, drank the rice porridge in the bowl, and frowned upon hearing Levi words. What are you saying? Although it is a not, but as a top agent, Natasha Romanoff is obviously able to control her emotions. After a short gaffe, she has recovered. At the moment, she was a little strange when she heard Levi words. I said, maybe I can heal you and give you a complete body that can be a mother's body. This is impossible. Natasha Romanoff said sharply that she doesn't like others to make fun of this. In her opinion, SHIELD, or the United States, represents the most powerful technical ability in the world. It's not that she hasn't been to the top hospitals, but the answers of the doctors are always so desperate. Oh, coincidence. What I'm best at is making the impossible possible. Celebrate the 7-day-long holiday of National Day and enjoy reading books. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge. Activity time. October 1st to October 7th. Chapter 35 Visit by Professor X. 4th update. Levi wasn't lying. He has a system that can extract all kinds of black technology from countless movies, and healing, or the technology of treating the human body, is regarded as a hotspot in many movies. Because of the improvement of advanced medical technology, the first to benefit will always be the upper class, those who hold a lot of money and power. And once there is any cross-age technology, it is easy to have class separation, and this happens to be the plot that many movies like to use. For example, if one day the technology of immortality appears, will the powerful people who master the technology be willing to share it? Without sharing, he will always be the man in power. He will always be at the top point. But you must know that time is the greatest wealth, and there is no wealth that time cannot create. Point. Once the technology is shared, then, soon, everyone will have enough wealth. He will no longer be special. And he may not even be able to stand at the top in the future. Levi remembers very clearly that there was a movie called Elysium, in which a cross-age medical technology was invented, a medical instrument, and that machine could instantly cure any disease known to mankind, including cancer and AIDS. Moreover, using that machine can also repair the genetic defects of the human body, turning imperfect people into perfect ones. Prolonging lifespan and staying young forever has become a very common phenomenon. As a result, the rich and powerful at the top were immediately separated from the poor at the bottom, and they even specially built a space of bliss, where they enjoyed the supply of global resources, and lived a life like heaven, while the earth full of pollution and scarce resources was left to the vast majority of ordinary people. No doubt, with that technology extracted, Natasha Romanoff's problem can be easily solved. In addition to medical equipment, in fact, there are related technologies in Resident Evil that can help Natasha Romanoff. Point clone. Umbrella Corporation's cloning technology has been completely perfected without any flaws, and even memories can be cloned. You know, it's not just Alice they cloned. Almost every character in the film has cloned people, and even many big villains originally, such as Dr. Isaac, are all cloned. Point. Such a perfect technology, in fact, has a very obvious medical effect. Organ transplant. Organs transplanted by different people will have a rejection reaction. So now the medical field has to seek a matching model for transplanting organs, but no matter how hard it is, the match cannot be 100%. Unless the organ comes from yourself. As one of the organs in women, the uterus can naturally be transplanted. If Levi converts the cloning technology and then cultivates a Natasha Romanoff, or directly cultivates an organ, this problem can be solved. In that world, it seems that Scarlett, who played Natasha Romanoff, starred in a movie about cloning and organ cultivation. It seems to be called Escape from Clone Island. Levi was still planning to continue talking with Natasha Romanoff. Suddenly, the doorbell rang, and Levi and Natasha Romanoff looked at each other. Then, Levi showed a helpless expression and got up to open the door. Oh, by the way, can you go and wake up those two, by the way? Because if they don't get up again, the meal may be cold. Beep. The crisp doorbell broke the tranquility of the morning. Levi walked out of the living room and walked to the front door. He didn't hire any servants here. It has not become as high-tech and fully intelligent as Tony's home, so, as the owner, he can only open the door himself. Who are you? The door creaked open, and Levi asked, after being stunned for half a second. Well, in fact, he knows these people. There is no way. Maybe he can't recognize other people, because they are different from the image in the movie, but he can really recognize this one. Hi, I'm Professor Charles. Reflected the sunlight behind him, and he looked like a fairy. After all, he had his own aperture. Okay, come in, Charles. Levi reached out his hand and invited these guests from New York to enter. Director Levi, you don't seem to be curious about our identities? The wheelchair moved forward slowly under the push of Scott. Levi walked in front and just smiled when he heard the voice behind. Oh, I think you must not be my fans. How is the school? Professor, I think, after the Liberty Island War some time ago, it may be a little bit uneven recently. The battle on Liberty Island was naturally the battle that took place on the Statue of Liberty during the G20 summit. The X-Men battle against Magneto, but that was before Levi crossed over. Almost 2 years ago. Celebrate the 7-day-long holiday of National Day and enjoy reading books. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge. Activity time. October 1st to October 7th. Chapter 36. Omega Mutant. The battle on Liberty Island brought back memories of the power of mutant. Magneto threatened the world and almost destroyed the White House, and the United States military and political leaders gathered there, but there was a lot of trouble. However, it was an era of slow information dissemination after all. How could the information dissemination speed and timeliness of newspapers and TV compare to the internet? And the news on the internet will not be difficult to find just because the newspaper is out of date. In fact, the discussion about mutant is intensifying on the internet today, and there is no sign of it stopping. And Levi, of course, has seen those messages about mutant. Some news is not true, but we have no way to respond. Charles smiled dryly. He devoted his whole life to the cause of integrating mutant into ordinary people. However, as the saying goes, it's not just his fate. Isn't mutant's fate like this? He can only unite mutant as much as possible, hoping to influence young people one after another through his words and deeds. Those young people who represent the future of mutant. Whether it is true or not, I have no way to make a conclusion. The existence of Magneto has a great influence, and it has a bad influence. While speaking, a group of people had already arrived in the living room, and they happened to meet Sky and Wanda Quicksilver, who had finished washing up. And when they saw Wanda, Charles' eyes lit up, as if seeing a rare treasure. Yes, my induction is not wrong. Charles turned his head to look at Scott and said loudly, and then he realized his gaffe, and quickly turned his head to look at Levi with an apologetic expression. Sorry, Mr. Levi, please forgive my faux pas. Levi waved his hand generously. When he saw Charles' performance like this, he understood the purpose of Charles' trip. Because Wanda is an Omega level mutant. The definition of Omega, or the classification of mutant, was formulated by the professor and another mutant spiritual master, and the criterion for judging is what they sensed about the strength of the X gene. And Wanda is an Omega mutant with the ability to destroy the world. After a while, the people who had already sat down gathered together. Wanda sat next to Levi, and even made a gesture of cuddling, while Quicksilver leaned to the side with a dissatisfied face. Restless, disappeared for a moment from time to time, and then again appear. So, you want Wanda and Pietro to go to the academy with you? After listening to the professor's narration, Levi turned his head and glanced at the girl beside him, then shook his head. Sorry, Professor, I'm afraid I can't agree to your request. The Mutant Academy is in troubled times. I don't want the two of them to go there. Besides, my new movie is still waiting for her as the heroine. Levi rejected the professor's invitation without any hesitation. He knew exactly what mutant college was, so he definitely wouldn't let Wanda go there. Once there, it is troublesome, and it is difficult to get rid of it. The so-called for the future of all mutants, please. You don't make trouble is the best way for mutants. What's more, it is none other than the Scarlet Witch next to Levi, who almost wiped out mutants. Just don't need any more mutants. 98% of the mutants in the world have their abilities eliminated directly, and it's the kind of elimination that even eliminates the X gene. Hundreds of thousands of mutants and X gene carriers around the world. In the end, there are only 198 left. So, for mutants' sake, stay away. But the professor obviously didn't understand Levi's worries and thoughts. Seeing that Levi refused on the spot, he immediately looked at Wanda. Perhaps we should listen to Wanda's opinion, the professor said with a smile. There was a little worry in his eyes. In his college, there are already 3 Omega mutants, but they are all potential. Their strength is either suppressed, or they have not yet grown up. However, the powerful power that Wanda broke out in the duel with Levi before made him Charles in New York felt it. This also means that Wanda has already awakened a considerable part of its power, and once this power gets out of control, or is used by others, the consequences will be unimaginable. Charles looked at Wanda expectantly, however, Wanda's answer disappointed him. I intend to stay here. The soft voice is a little charming, as if someone is whispering in your ear, or whispering in the curtain of the bed in the middle of the night. Everyone looked at Wanda. A smile appeared on Levi's face. Pietro yawned. His face was indifferent, although he, the big brother, was a little out of tune, but he was protecting his sister's safety, and watching her harvest isn't happiness. What big brother should do, Wanda? Do you really stop thinking about it? You are very powerful, and the academy will give you better guidance, and the academy is full of your compatriots. No, thank you, Professor. I like my life very much. I will visit you in the college when I have the opportunity, Wanda said again. This time, her attitude was very clear. Charles glanced at Wanda, the light flickering in his eyes, and then he whispered, I see. Mr. Levi, if you are free, you can visit the college. Maybe your opinion of us will change. The children there are still very cute. However, your movie is not suitable for them to watch. The smile on Charles's face remained the same, and even though he was rejected, he was not angry, which undoubtedly changed Levi's impression of him. In his opinion, Charles would make a seal on his student, Jane. With memory and ability, he is even ready to turn his face. He's not scared of the three that came today, Cyclops and Storm, and, if he had to, he could pull off S.H.I.E.L.D.'s tiger coat, with Natasha Romanoff right behind him. However, Charles' concession avoided these. I have to say that the professor does have a bit of charisma. Since you gave me face, then Levi is not unreasonable, and he immediately smiled at Charles. Professor, don't worry, I will soon make a movie suitable for children to watch. Also, I have a plan. Are you interested in listening to it? The professor frowned, then motioned for Levi to continue. It's like this, you know, I'm a director, and I'm a director who is becoming famous and becoming famous, so I have a plan, which can be regarded as the plan for Wanda and the others, the star-making plan. 4. Levi, the scripts in his hands are infinite. What is missing are actors. Definitely, he is in Hollywood, so it is impossible for him to lack actors. Just send a message outside, and a lot of people will come to audition. However, if the actor in his movie, can bring him benefits other than the box office, then why not do it? Instead of giving these opportunities to become popular to those who don't know him well, and come here just for money, why not give it to his own people, with his ability, plus the scripts he has mastered? Basically, as long as the image is not too problematic and the acting skills are not bad, then he can make them popular. And he doesn't just master script knowledge, what he masters is the knowledge of writing scripts. And he also knows a lot of knowledge about music, dance, martial arts and so on. Well, in addition to using movies to praise people, he can also praise singers, and there are various popular variety shows from a third world. He can create an entire entertainment circle by himself. Movies are just one of the biggest stages. There are so many students in the college. The professor has been running the college for many years. Graduates like these two are obviously not the only two of them. So, what kind of life are the others living now? The professor remained silent. The students who graduated from the academy were naturally more than Scott and the three of them, but what happened to the others after they left? What could life be like for a mutant? I can provide a platform, and I can set up an entertainment company. If there are students in the academy who are willing to come under my promotion and packaging, I can completely turn them into big stars known to the world, and they are solving problems. In the case of employment and life, I can use my status as a star to coordinate the relationship between mutant and ordinary human beings so that people can see a positive image of mutant. And I will get a group of employees, actors, and 3 wins in one fell swoop. Or 3,500 character chapter is here. Please collect it. Celebrate the 7-day-long holiday of National Day and enjoy reading books. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge. Activity time, October 1st to October 7th. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. we cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 37 Charles 039 Surprise second update. Charles' eyes widened, not only him, but also Scott with strange eyes on his back and Storm Ororo. But soon, their expressions turned into ecstasy, just because, for them, the plan proposed by Levi was like a rain after a long drought. You know, after the Liberty Island War 2 years ago, the threat of mutant was once again brought to the fore. It was not because the X-Men saved the world and the leaders of the 20 countries. The massacre against mutant was probably an inevitable point, but their rescue actions could not eliminate the hostility of those leaders. People once recalled the fear of being threatened by Magneto. Even the President of the United States dared to assassinate. What else? That guy dared not do. People are afraid of war because weapons are too lethal. However, the power possessed by mutant is far more powerful than guns. This kind of fear cannot be eliminated. Ordinary people can forget it, but can the powerful? They were originally the ones with the highest power, but now, they only need a genetic mutation and an emotional fluctuation. It is very possible that a little girl who was originally powerless can have the power to destroy everything. This is horrible. The professor has worked hard for so long, hoping that the public can accept mutant, and hope that mutant can be integrated into ordinary people. According to his theory, if everything develops in an orderly manner, then at most 200 years, all human beings will become carriers of the X gene. When the time comes, the gap between mutant and ordinary people will naturally disappear. But the problem is, as the mutant problem becomes more and more acute, it seems that the 200 years cannot wait. This is indeed the case. If it continues to develop normally, 30 years later, after Sentinel has completed its technological innovation, the mutant and the carriers of the X gene will be completely wiped out in history. Even if they reverse history, mutant will still go down the path of destruction. Mr. Levi, are you really willing to help us? The professor's voice was trembling. It's not that he hasn't tried and thought of various methods, but he is not a director, nor is he a person who is good at making stars. He is a scientist and a geneticist, is still a teacher. Asking him to do something to win the favor of the public is a bit out of line for him. And once Levi's plan is successful, even if only a few mutant stars are born, their influence on the public will be far greater than those of the busy X-Men. Definitely, I can help you, but I naturally have conditions, such as the contract issues of the mutant students who come to me, such as your positions, such as the rules that need to be followed, etc. Levi shook Wanda's little hand lightly. Although the latter had no expression on her face, the affection in her beautiful eyes was stronger than ever. She definitely knew who Levi was doing all this for. We can talk about these, Mr. Levi. The important thing is that your proposal is of great help to us. Most of the public's perception of mutants is that they are monsters and freaks, which makes it impossible for the professor to go this way because there is no way to enter. But Levi opens the door and invites them to enter. The act of sending charcoal in the snow is too important for the professor and others left soon. This matter is very important. Professor needs to go back and discuss with those children, and Levi also needs to perfect his sudden idea. You don't think there's anything wrong with what I did, do you? After sending the professor and others away and watching them leave in the stealth Thunderbird, Levi turned to look at Natasha Romanoff. This is your business. What are you asking me for? Natasha Romanoff crossed her arms. She had been watching and listening to the previous discussions, and she did not express any opinions from the beginning to the end. But Levi certainly doesn't ignore her, or rather, the shield she represents. He believed that when Natasha Romanoff saw Charles and others, he had already informed Nick Fury. It is estimated that now, Nick Fury has learned all about it and made a decision. You know what I'm asking? Levi's eyes locked on her, who pouted. This man is just like her boss. When he is calm, he is ruthless to the extreme. Definitely, when he is crazy, it scares her even more. Nick is fine with that. The X-Men are a powerful force and the most powerful force against Magneto's Brotherhood, and it's important to ensure they continue to lean on the human side. Watching Natasha Romanoff walk away, Levi's mind turned. The two words Magneto and Brotherhood lingered in his heart for a long time, and finally hid them in the bottom of his heart. A few days later, representatives of several car companies gathered at the headquarters of the Marvel Entertainment Company in Hollywood. In front of them, there was a video about people who can shapeshift, have self-awareness, have different personalities, and can even help drivers. A video of a car robot picking up girls celebrate the 7-day-long holiday of National Day and enjoy reading books. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge. Activity time, October 1st to October 7th. Chapter 38. The Madness of Auto Manufacturers. Third watch. An Autobot logo, sold for nearly $50 million. This kind of thing, if you say it, others may not believe it, but after watching the trailer specially prepared by Levi, this thing is easily achieved. Many car manufacturers, including Chevrolet, Audi and Mercedes-Benz, after watching the shapeshifting King Khan trailer prepared by Levi, as well as the design drawings and display videos of several Autobots, they were all impressed by this cross-generational and brand new promotional means completely conquer. You know, the United States is the country with the largest number of cars per capita in the world. Cars are not just a simple tool for the people of the United States. However, before this, they have not found a suitable vocabulary to define a car, until now, when the Autobot has truly become a kind of life, an existence that can talk to you, and even help you find girls. They suddenly found that it seems that this is no longer a difficult thing. Friends, family, partner. They can put various labels on this living life, because their products will no longer be products, but real life. Well, the fundraising was successful. After signing the agreement, after stipulating the duration of the appearance and the right to use the Autobot logo, Levi obtained about $50 million in funds from major automobile manufacturers, and signed a distribution agreement with Chevrolet. The two parties cooperated to develop new models, focusing on the Hornet series. If the profit is shared, it depends on the box office of Buy-in-ie. You really are a business genius, Director Levi. Chevrolet's president complimented. Levi was non-committal about this. He also understands business methods, even finance. He also understands that the wisdom of the Wolf of Wall Street is not just lines for him. Why don't you find someone to make that movie? That movie is quite interesting. Definitely, this kind of movie isn't just for fun. According to the judgment of the system, a movie, as long as he holds any two of the four positions of director, starring role, producer, and screenwriter, it can be counted as his movie, and will be included in the system redemption list. Among them, the box office can be counted as points. You know, if a movie wants to win a lot of box office, it must not be shoddy. And this means that Levi needs to spend a lot of time on it. But he alone, no matter how outstanding ability is, cannot make the entire crew fly, so the filming time of the film must be limited. Then, it is inevitable to hand over some movies to other people to shoot and star in, and he only needs to be the producer and star in it. As for The Wolf of Wall Street, a movie that is well received, but there is nothing worth exchanging for it, is suitable for others to shoot. However, for now, let's deal with the matter at hand first. Notify everyone that the holiday is over, and the machine will start tomorrow. The funds are already in place, so after nearly 3 months of rest, he will return to the set. A week later, in the desert near Hollywood, the first act of the desert drama was being staged. A group of special warfare elites were frantically chased by a metal scorpion-like Zack giant. Definitely, at the moment, what they were doing was completely insubstantial for the performance. The sack giant will be added in the later computer synthesis. However, because of the Red Queen, Levi made the shots of the shapeshifting King Khan early on, which allowed the actors to understand more intuitively what kind of performance they were performing, and had a certain picture in their minds in advance. Levi stood up. What I want to see is a heroic soldier, a fearless fighter, not a soldier who is hiding behind cover and shooting. Do you not know the difference between film and reality? Do you think the audience wants to see the scene where everyone hides in the trenches? Levi yelled. Sorry, director, I'll find out how I feel. Similar scenes kept happening. However, the shooting progress of the shapeshifting King Khan was also constantly improving. After nearly 3 months of shooting, the exterior scenes were almost finished. Everyone returned to the city soon and began filming the final battle for the fire point, and this part of the drama has become Levi Homefield's point. The role of Sam is naturally played by Levi, but he also made an adaptation. The original chatty, hysterical, and somewhat neurotic little boy has become an ordinary person with justice in his heart. Excellent studies, but lack of interpersonal communication point. Although it lacks some funny shots, it has a sense of three-dimensionality and fullness of the plot. As a series of blockbusters, the shape-shifting King Kong series, like many films of the same type, has flaws in the plot, and even worse, as a result, the further you get to the back, the more you will be criticized. It is obvious that they are dealing with the government all the time, but it is ordinary people who save the world every time. Trillions of military spending every year feed pigs. They are aliens with a history of tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of years, but their technology is not much higher than that of people on Earth. Hundreds of thousands of years of development fed the dogs. Also, from animation to comics, the original shape-shifting King Kong has a complete view of the universe, but after 5 films were filmed, the story became worse and worse, and in the end even made up such nonsense as knights. You are obviously the representative of the highest technology, but why are you using a sword? Celebrate the 7-day-long holiday of National Day and enjoy reading books. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge. Activity time, October 1st to October 7th. Chapter 39 Resident Evil Box Office Exchange. For more. Under Levi pen, the story of shape-shifting King Kong was directly rewritten, combining the original animation series and the shape-shifting King Kong comics published by Marvel authorized by Hasbro. Levi reshaped the universe view of shape-shifting King Kong, except Autobots and Decepticons, except for the fundamental unshakability of these two opposing factions. Almost everything has been changed. As a top-level director and god-level screenwriter, Levi is very aware of the importance of a complete story for the development of the series. Even if it can be popular with big bangs alone, it is not so easy to reap the box office constantly. This world does not have decades of shape-shifting King Kong culture, decades of shape-shifting King Kong animation, and shape-shifting King Kong toys that can make hundreds of millions of dollars in profits every year. This is an important reason why this series of movies in that world is so popular. The shooting progress is very fast, even faster than expected. Definitely, this is mainly due to Levi's super ability, his director ability and the script written by himself, which greatly improves the shooting progress. Moreover, since the protagonist of this film is actually a shape-shifting King Kong, not a human being, and they are all produced by computer CG, with the help of the artificial intelligence program of Red Queen, Levi spent more than $10 million after renting the resources of several supercomputers with funds. The work was quickly completed. So, in less than half a year, the play has been completed. The time has also come to 2005, and it has been a year since Levi came to this world. 43 million. That's the only final result of Biochemistry 1. Even if you count the money from selling CDs, it's estimated that it can reach 60 million. It took a year, from Los Angeles to California, to the whole of the United States, then South America, Europe, Asia, Southeast Asia, and even Africa. Resident Evil 1 finally completed the screening, and Levi also got the final box office data, 43 million. Don't think that this figure is very low. This is not the future, the era where the box office of movies can exceed 100 million or 1 billion. Now that we have just entered the 21st century, even in another world, Biochemical 1, which was released at the same time, only had a box office of more than 40 million, and that was after the game was warmed up for several years in advance, and then there was a complete. The publicity and distribution team has done enough promotion in the early stage, and when it is released, it will be released simultaneously all over the world. And what about Levi? Biochemical 1 filmed by Levi. First, there is no game that has accumulated a large number of fans. That is, there is no part of the most profitable part of the movie, those who are sold out. He has almost spent all his funds, so he still has money to promote. Secondly, his release cycle is not synchronized worldwide, but now in Los Angeles, then to California, and then to the United States and even the world. During this period, Pirated resources have already been uploaded on the internet. Although they are not high definition, because the Blu-ray DVD discs have not been sold, but such a long release time, those who are really interested, have already seen them, so the location of the later release, such as Europe and Asia, in fact, not many people went to see it. Not only that, how much did Levi spend compared to the tens of millions of filming funds for the original work? Less than 5 million. More than 80 times the rate of return. This data, even in Hollywood, where big names gather, is enough to be recorded in history. More than 20 million points, can be exchanged for a T-virus strengthening serum for Sky, and the other for various instruments and equipment, and a set of computer units for the Red Queen. Levi didn't keep any funds in his hands at all, and almost all the points were spent by him as soon as he saved enough. But it was worth it. Needless to say, the serum given to Sky is his first woman, and, compared to Wanda's powerful strength, Sky is too fragile. It can be imagined that when Levi becomes stronger and more influential, Sky is likely to be targeted by others. Therefore, this serum must be exchanged. The same is true for the crew of the Red Queen. The Red Queen is still very important to Levi. Protecting the house is one aspect. Levi also needs the powerful computing ability and assistance of the Red Queen to complete those animated movies and anime dramas, and even make various movies. CG special effects. As the carrier of computing, the unit is very critical. It is not a long-term solution to always rent other people's supercomputers to use resources, so the unit that originally carried the Red Queen of the Umbrella Company was directly exchanged by Levi. Coupled with the list given to him by the Red Queen, some parts and equipment that are difficult to obtain from the outside world, or even not available at all, can also appear in this world. Therefore, in just a few days, Levi Mansion completed the transformation from an earthen palace to a high-tech next-generation mansion. When Sky and others re-entered, they even thought they had come to the future world. Okay, Red Queen, let's get started. In the enlarged underground garage, the virtual projected little Red Queen Lali follows Levi, and a holographic projection 3-dimensional operation interface appears in front of Levi. He is going to work. Minus 10,000 words updated today. Ask for a wave of flower collections. Celebrate the 7-day-long holiday of National Day and enjoy reading books. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge. Activity time. October 1st to October 7th. Chapter 40. The Shapper Shifting King Kong is finished. One more. One after another pictures appeared on the interface with Levi editing, and gradually clear and eye-catching characters were defined, named, and then collectively included in the database of Red Queen. In just one night, Levi edited at least 100 animated characters, endowing them with different personalities and unique characteristics. If someone from another world sees his working scene, he will find that many well-known characters appear one by one, such as Superman, Batman, Green Lantern, The Flash, Luffy, Soren, Doraemon, Super Saiyan Goku, and even Saitama. This kind of thing is not uncommon. It is found in very large animation studios. Not only animation studios, such as Marvel, DC, and even some game studios have this kind of thing. ID library only. However, the vast majority of creative libraries are finally formed after years or even decades of accumulation by a studio or even a large creative company. The most typical ones are well-known companies such as Marvel, Blizzard, and Riot Games. Over the decades of Marvel, countless editors and creators have brought together the inspirations and wits that have been distributed one by one. When new heroes and characters appear, they don't have to think about it temporarily. You need to find them in your own library of ideas, and then perfect them. The same goes for game companies like Blizzard and Riot Games. When they create games, they are creating a whole new world. Most of the more than 100 heroes in League of Legends are taken directly from the creative library and then improved, and finally became everyone's favorite object. But Levi operation is terrifying. In one night, he created nearly 100 characters. The key point is that each character is not just an idea, but a complete and plump character. Almost you can use it when you get it. If this scene was seen by those well-known comics, animation companies, and game manufacturers in the world, they would probably kneel down and worship on the spot. With so many characters, each of them can be the protagonist of a masterpiece. However, it can be seen everywhere in Levi. Let's stop here. Go back and write the plot. Then I can leave the rest to Hong Hao. The biggest advantage of artificial intelligence is here, even if they themselves still cannot provide things like creativity. After all, it is about perceptual thinking, and their overly rational thinking makes it difficult for them to engage in creation. However, artificial intelligence means that they have completed a very important point. They will actively think, and after an animation is produced, they can compare it like a human being, instead of simply relying on data analysis to distinguish between their own work and how our normal work's different. This means that when the character of the character is in doubt and the event is set, Levi only needs to determine the style of painting, such as the general appearance of the character and the scene, and then find someone to do the dubbing later. Even the soundtrack is not used, because he remembers all the soundtracks in one world, so the most time consuming and laborious part of the work can be completely handed over to the Red Queen. At most, Levi can modify it again, but it can also save him a lot of time. The shape-shifting King Kong was finished. Levi continued to work, and the main creators, including Wanda and Ward, who made their debut in front of the public, started their own publicity and distribution. The situation this time is much better than when Biochemical 1 was finalized. At that time, Levi Crew had no money. From the finalization to the release, there was no way to do any publicity. During the release period, there were very few people who were willing to give Biochemical 1 a canvas. It has been a long month since no one cared about it until it became popular all over the city. As soon as the shape-shifting King Kong came out, as Levi and all the main creators appeared in front of the public camera for the first time to announce, there were reporters and interviews from major entertainment media, film, and television media. The reason is simple. Although the current Levi is not very popular, the new work of a well-known director is also a script created by himself, directed by himself, and a movie starring in himself, which is enough to attract attention. The point is, after this year, the popularity of Biohazard 1 has not subsided. In fact, Levi is well versed in the drama of hype. He has been guiding the conjectures about Biohazard on all major social platforms and entertainment boards. Over the past year, he has been increasing his exposure. Even though he rarely appears in public and often stays at home to create, the outside world has not stopped paying attention to him. Thus, shape-shifting King Kong became popular. Even before it was released, the movie was already a hit. It is also a brand new theme. Although the theme of aliens has been described in many movies and literary works, silicon-based life is a real civilization created by gods that has gone through millions of years. All these gimmicks have undoubtedly brought huge amounts of heat to shape-shifting King Kong. Celebrate the 7-day-long holiday of National Day and enjoy reading books. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge. Activity time, October 1st to October 7th. Chapter 41. Oh my god. If Resident Evil just touches the G-spot of science fiction fans who fantasize about doomsday, then shape-shifting King Kong has also attracted discussions and participation from lovers of sociology and theology. This is a civilization that humans have never encountered before, but in fact, it has a profound impact on the Earth. They came to the Earth millions of years ago and have had a huge amounts of impetus to the progress of the Earth's civilization. Ward exaggerated his expression as much as possible, using the script Levi had given him earlier to depict the magnificent civilization from the ancient universe. Seeing them, we finally understand that human beings are not alone nor unique in the universe. In fact, no one is more worthy of the title of the creator's darling than them. Wanda has a dignified expression and is also carrying the manuscript. After the main creators talked, there was a preview. 7 seconds. The only few lines of the main creators. Each time a figure of huge amounts of appeared. 8 seconds later, the line still did not change. This time, one more figure was added from the back. In 9 seconds, there is one more shot. A huge gold, red and blue truck appears in front of the protagonist, Levi. 10 seconds. 11 seconds. 12 seconds. Like squeezing toothpaste, Levi played his so-called new trailer, revealing the faces of those huge creatures and super robots little by little. Well, he learned this trick from Marvel. Avengers Alliance 3 or more than 40 trailers, but he was pissed off at the beginning. A week later, a new trailer, and after watching it, Tony turned his head and stared. Another week later, another new trailer, and found that Captain America was punched, and a week later, there was another new trailer. Well, Thanos has an extra line point, a whole year of announcement and release time, more than 40 trailers. Levi once suspected that he would cut a movie out of the trailers when he first watched it. However, it is undeniable that Marvel's low-stakes method has really whetted the appetite of the audience and fans, so that once it was released, it became popular all over the world, and the box office records were refreshed one after another. Well, of course Levi wouldn't do that. There are more than 40 trailers, and he doesn't have that kung fu editing yet. He only released 20, one every 3 days, and finally made up the whole. After making up 20, the image of the Bumblebee finally appeared in the trailer completely, plus an extra Optimus Prime transformation. The body process, only half, not finished point then. After 2 months of publicity, it will be released simultaneously in the United States. In terms of overseas markets, especially now that time is an issue, it is not yet 2008, and the world's largest box office market on the west side of the Pacific Ocean has not yet opened. Levi has already asked people from his company to go. We talked about it, but if we want to talk about it, it is estimated that the box office here will be hot, and then it will be released after 2 or 3 months, after being reviewed by the other side. Moreover, during this time period, there will not be much box office over there, and at most it will accumulate word of mouth bar. If it is really going to be popular, it will take billions and billions at the box office. It will have to wait 10 years later. Crack, click, click. Amidst the crisp metal impact, the dazzling heavy truck slowly turned into a 30-foot tall steel giant, so there were cries of surprise in the theater. Oh my god. This is absolutely only God can create such a great life. And as Optimus Prime told Sam and Chimera about shape-shifting King Kong, and about the history of Cybertron, exclamations kept ringing out one after another. People finally understand this civilization from the ancient universe, their past and history. But the real surprise did not come from here, but when a group of people finally appeared under the Hoover Dam. After going through hardships, they saw the huge amounts of the fire source cube, and saw the frozen and terrifying threat when the sky was shaking. People once again exclaimed that it turns out that shape-shifting King Kong has such a great influence on human beings. Integrated circuits, microchips, lasers, nuclear power, and space travel, gentlemen, are the beginnings of modernity, the origins of intelligence. On the screen, Mr. Agent, who is full of passion, introduces the secrets they have hidden for a lifetime to the Minister of Defense, Sam and others. But off the screen, Tony, who accompanied his lovely secretary to watch the movie, fell into deep thought. In the 1920s and 1930s, there was a huge amount of technological leap in the scientific world, such as my father and Einstein, etc. Their whimsical ideas, their advanced theories, including the kind of miraculous, I have come to the arc reactor technology, that has not yet been penetrated. Is there really such an alien? All our technologies are obtained through learning and reverse engineering from him. The speed of scientific and technological progress of mankind in the past few decades has been greater than the progress in the past thousands of years. There are more things. Even though he is a member of scientists, Tony can't help but have doubts. Could it be that there really was such an alien back then that made human technology suddenly grow up like eating Mario's mushrooms? Celebrate the 7-day-long holiday of National Day and enjoy reading books. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge. Activity time, October 1st to October 7th. Chapter 42. Shape-shifting King Kong detonates the world. No, it's unlikely. I read my father's notes. Arc technology and nuclear energy. They were inspired by forging from that cube. It has nothing to do with the shape-shifting King Kong above. However, the cosmic cube, that piece of Norse mythology, the artifact in the book, this kind of thing, originally explained the existence of aliens. Tony didn't have much interest in watching the follow-up plot. He just had a rough understanding. More time, Tony was immersed in his own thinking. This movie touched him a lot. Although it seems that the setting of alien robots is more nonsense than biological viruses from ancient times, for him, a scientist who is at the forefront of the world, he believes in alien robots even more. The existence of aliens, on the contrary, the various characteristics of the T-virus are somewhat unreliable. Naturally, Tony was not the only one who was touched. Since this release was directly released across the United States, many people in New York and Washington DC saw this masterpiece created by Levi in the first place. With the capital investment of major car manufacturers, some money invested by Levi himself, and some other advertising investments, the total investment of this movie is close to $100 million, and now it is 2005. During this period, the investment has been a movie worth $100 million new and can definitely be called a big production point announcement, and this time, almost 80% of theater resources have been spread out, and it only took 1 week. The system background that Levi saw has already obtained the latest data. The box office has already arrived in the 7-day premiere week more than 40 million. This is not an exaggeration. In fact, the first live-action version of the original shape-shifting King Kong has a box office of more than 300 million in the United States. Definitely, that is the data 2 months after it was released, but the total global box office of Shanghai also reached over $700 million. If you look at these figures alone, the box office in the first week was only 40 million, which is still a bit low. But in fact, in another world, since 1984, shape-shifting King Kong has been launched and promoted, comics, animations, and various toys and peripherals. The first live-action movie was released in 2007, but it took a full 22 years, and it was this long 22 years of publicity that made the live-action movie a hit point. And how long is Levi publicity time and scope? It is possible to have the current effect, which is most likely due to his excellent production, super director level, and a more plentiful script plot after adaptation, which makes this movie take into account the big bang and coolness. It made the audience linger and forget to return, and spontaneously promoted it, just like the original Resident Evil point, and this also led to the fact that the box office data did not start to decline after the premiere week, but instead became higher and higher. It was only the 10th day of the release, and the single day box office exceeded 20 million. After that, it was released for 2 weeks, that is, in half a month. By Annie's North American box office has exceeded 150 million. When Resident Evil appeared, some people still thought that the director was lucky, came across a good theme, and touched people's G-spot. Now, no one will doubt his strength anymore. He is definitely the most powerful goldsmith in Hollywood in recent years. Even half of the release time has not passed, and it has already achieved its return. Profits made. Oh my god, I can't imagine how popular this guy's going to be. On a well-known variety show in the United States, the host held his head and yelled, "Let us please, the most powerful and profitable director of this year, Levi, and her Alice, Daisy John." Since Sky lived in an orphanage before, she didn't have her own surname. Now that she has entered the entertainment industry, she naturally needs to prepare a stage name to replace the original name with a local flavor. Therefore, Levi chose this for her name. Hello, Director Levi. Hello, Daisy, but I prefer to call you Alice. For an actor, it is an absolute honor for an actor to have a role that the audience can remember deeply, even as his own label. I'm very glad that you call me that. Variety shows, whether it is an interview show or some fancy things, are all drafted in advance. What can be said and what can't be said needs to be determined in advance. So, after complimenting each other, the two guests sat down, and the host also started his own interview, interspersed with some small games and the like, such as testing tacit understanding or something. Oh, by the way, Daisy, I heard that the two of you are living together now. This is a relatively personal question, but since it has been done, Levi is naturally not afraid of others to talk about it, even if he is living with his two heroines at the same time. Yes, Masha, Sky, nodded at the host, who made a matching look of surprise. Wow, it seems that, although you are rivals in the movie, in real life, your fake couple has come true. Celebrate the 7-day-long holiday of National Day and enjoy reading books. recharge 100, and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity time, October 1st to October 7th. Chapter 43 Shield Agent, another countermeasure? In Biochemical 1, Levi played the role of Spencer Parkers, the big villain who released the T-virus. He and Alice acted as the security director of the Umbrella, pretending to be husband and wife, but there was a scene where the two faked the show for real. Levi is a very attractive man. He is full of talent. His intelligence is like I have never seen before. His mastery of the art of film, his script, his wild imagination, and his life. That thoughtfulness deeply attracted me. To be honest, I don't think there is a better man than him in this world. Especially, he is so handsome. Sky made no secret of his admiration for Levi. The host nodded and smiled in cooperation, and the camera also gave a close-up of Sky's words, perfectly showing the admiration and fascination in her eyes. It seems that you are the #1 fan of director Levi. Daisy, yes, I've been his biggest fan since the first day I met him. Sky glanced over at Levi, who shook his head with a smile. I'll be proud of you like this. However, your last sentence is right. I'm indeed handsome. Alas, think of me as a person who can rely on appearance and face to make a living. Why should I work so hard to rely on talent? The laughter of the host and Sky enlivened the atmosphere of the scene. And finally, at the end, everyone turned the topic to the most important thing. This time, I'm mainly here to promote our latest work, which will be released in 3 months. Resident Evil 2nd, Apocalypse. The Resident Evil series is a typical low-cost production, especially the first 3, with very few special effects shots and scenes, such as the completely underground space in the first part, the night town in the second part, and the desert in the third part. How much money is needed? It wasn't until the beginning of the 4th film that there were a lot of high-tech scene shots of Umbrella Corporation and parts of urban battles. Therefore, Levi didn't spend much effort. With his salary of 7 million yuan for the first evolution, he almost finished the second part. Even the special effects in the later stage were almost over, leaving only Levi's last film. Finished editing part. Wow, 3 years in 1.5 years. 3 masterpieces. I have to say, director Levi is not only a genius, but also has a high output that ordinary people can't imagine. Shape-shifting King Kong is still in theaters, with box office ranging from 100 million to 300 million, and then to 500 million to 600 million after its global release. Almost every day, you can hear news from the entertainment section reporting its success. But here, Levi has already started to promote Resident Evil 2nd. This guy, doesn't he need to rest? Many directors were full of doubts when they saw Levi active on the screen. As insiders, they naturally recognized Levi's ability, but what really shocked them was Levi's terrible work efficiency. For a big director, it is not bad to have one work in 3 or 4 years. Sci-fi blockbusters such as Shape-shifting King Kong and Resident Evil, although the production is a bit faster due to the extensive use of computer CG, but 1 film a year is already the best. Fast speed. Like Levi, a masterpiece every 6 months, really, is not something ordinary people can understand. Point also incomprehensible. There are some special people. Damn it, is that guy deliberately making problems for us? In the bright combat conference room, an agent with gold-rimmed glasses cursed in a low voice. Also, why did the director let us do this kind of thing? Iron Alien, Shape-shifting King Kong. Listen to the name. This is just a second-rate director and third-rate screenwriter's imagination. Why do we have to make a countermeasure for this? That is movie. Jazz Weber, that's not a second-rate director. He is now the top director in Hollywood. Besides, isn't that what our job is? Solving problems that normal people can't solve. Phil Coulson corrected his colleague's statement, and then looked at the information in front of him with piercing eyes. You said, what about rust? Chemical weapons, through the rust reaction of metal, directly reacted their bodies. Phil Coulson said suddenly, it's unrealistic. Their body surfaces have energy shields, and bullets need high energy armor piercing bullets to hurt them, let alone reactants. Moreover, as half-energy creatures, they can use energy to repair themselves, although slowly, but it can be done. What's more, we don't even know what kind of metal they have. Not all metals have the same oxidation reaction formula. Take gold as an example. Most substances in nature cannot react with gold. However, the shape-shifting diamonds from extraterrestrials, and even the metals that make up the body are not in the element cycle. There are two sayings in the table. What if the reactants thrown up make the opponent's body brighter and more shiny? Well, the weapons of the troops can hurt them, but the problem is that the troops need to gather, and it takes a lot of time, and their greatest advantage is flexibility, and their mobility is simply unparalleled. So, what if we use cryo weapons? For example, liquid nitrogen, through extremely rapid cooling, embrittles the metals that make up them, and at the same time, reduces their ability to move. Celebrate the 7-day-long holiday of National Day and enjoy reading books. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge. Activity time, October 1st to October 7th. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 44: Exchange Bumblebee and Soundwave. The new plan caught everyone's eyes, but before they could be happy, some strategists immediately thought of the flaws in this way of fighting. No, the transportation of liquid nitrogen is a big problem, and a small amount of cryogenic liquid is definitely not enough to control them. As you said, they are too flexible, and our maneuverability is far inferior. Another plan was denied, and everyone in the room was frowning. At this moment, they are all like Jas Weber, looking at the indignation on the face of the person in the materials. You are free to make some sci-fi films, and it makes us suffer even more. Delving into some of them. Steel robots, metal aliens. Can you talk a little more regarding the discussion about dealing with shape-shifting King Kong? The atmosphere is much lower than that of dealing with zombies. Even S.H.I.E.L.D., when considering that kind of steel robot, they don't have a good way. In the mansion, irrelevant personnel were screened out, but Levi came to the garage. After a big box office harvest, he was ready to exchange for a wave of big ones. Well, first of all, it's Bumblebee, 20 million. Bought it, although the price is a bit high. Bumblebee, or shape-shifting King Kong, is worth the price. Every shape-shifting King Kong is an intelligent life and a living technology library. It is not surprising that the price is higher than that of T-Virus and Red Queen combined. In the spacious garage, a yellow Chevrolet suddenly appeared. However, its extremely dilapidated and shabby appearance seemed a bit out of place here. However, following a burst of shape-shifting sounds, a living shape-shifting King Kong appeared in front of Levi. Sam. The sound that came out through the radio was not Bumblebee's own voice. His sound system was damaged, and it has never been repaired in the 5 volumes. He has always been able to express his meaning only by the words in the radio, and his greeting was naturally addressed to Levi. When Levi was exchanged, the system had instilled a certain amount of memory in Bumblebee's mind. In the eyes of this big guy, Levi was the Sam who was born and died with him in the movie. Hi, Bumblebee. Levi stepped forward to take a picture of this big guy with excitement. Compared with the popular Queen, this real steel giant is more impactful. Point in particular, when he was young, Levi also watched the animation of shape-shifting King Kong over and over again, begging his parents to buy a big truck and a small plane. Point in fact, Levi has already contacted the toy manufacturer, and as long as the funds arrive, he will set up his own toy company, and he has no intention of letting go of the annual profit of more than $1 billion. US dollars from shape-shifting King Kong toys. After getting acquainted with the Bumblebee for a while, watching the Bumblebee transform into a model of his classic Camaro, Levi traded in another shape-shifting King Kong that he wanted most. Sonic, come on. When the brilliance fell, a silver steel robot appeared in front of Levi. He did not appear in the form of shape-shifting, but he was the powerful help Levi was really looking forward to. Great Master, Sonic comes to see you. Decepticon's military advisor and head of intelligence department, Megatron's deputy, intelligence master and network technology expert, Sonic. That is, the eccentric shape-shifting King Kong attached to the satellite in the first and second parts, and the silver sports car owned by the heroine boss in the third part. Allow me to ask, to bring my intelligence unit, with whom I will be able to do my job better. The monotonous electronic synthesis sound may sound a bit harsh, but Levi appreciates this kind of work spirit that is not procrastinating at all, just to complete the task, fulfill your requirement. Then, the light flashed, and small shape-shifting King Kong appeared around the sound wave. In the film, sneaked into Air Force One and successfully thawed Megatron's confusion, the laser bird that murdered Sam's Chinese colleague in the third film, and the robot dog that broke into the Rice Army base in the second film. Those beats form a circular saw bird. With you, there is nothing on this planet that can be hidden from me. Go ahead, control everything, and monitor everything. A smile appeared on Levi's face, and the sound wave left the confusion. Laserbird and others went out from the garage, and then quickly shifted into a predator drone, to fly high into the sky, flying higher and higher. Soon, he came to the outer space, where countless satellites are waiting for his luck. The signal has been received. The voice of the Red Queen appeared, and she had received a signal from the sound wave. Since then, all network signals, mobile phone signals, and all information exchanges using electromagnetic pulses as carriers on the Earth cannot be hidden from their eyes. Moreover, with the double blessing of Red Queen and Soundwave, the databases of major countries and major intelligence organizations will open their doors to them, allowing them to ask for it. Hey, it's a pity that the source of fire seeds is too expensive. Otherwise it would be nice to get one for fun. Looking at the price tag of $5 billion in the mall, Levi shook his head. If this thing is exchanged for him, he can directly create a Cybertron civilization. The source of fire not only contains life energy, but can turn dead things into survivors, can revive shifting King Kong, making them upgrade so easy. It has been explained in the second part that the fire source is also the information carrier of the Cybertron civilization, and all the history and technology of their civilization are contained in the fire source. This means that, once Levi redeems this thing, he can immediately create a top civilization in the universe, so it is normal for the price to be high. Celebrate the 7-day-long holiday of National Day and enjoy reading books. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge. Activity time, October 1st to October 7th. Chapter 45 Cybertron Technology Corporation. The super killing weapon like Tinder Source cannot be exchanged for the time being, which is nothing to Levi. It is enough to have a Bumblebee to pretend, and the Sonic team, to provide him with intelligence support. However, Levi is not without the slightest gain point. As early as when the filming started, he had already established the Cybertron Technology Company. Definitely, on the surface he is still named Marvel Entertainment, the president of Marvel Entertainment. The founder of this Cybertron company is not known to the public, and this technology company, first of all, provides various electronic information technologies. Although the Red Queen exchanged by Levi does not have the various black technologies of the umbrella, Levi needs to exchange additionally. However, as an artificial intelligence, she herself is a black technology, the black technology of network technology, so it is not difficult to reverse her own and come up with some network technology that is ahead of the current world. That's enough. The next 15 years will be the 10 years of the internet information age. Levi even needs to come up with some ideas and say things that may be commonplace in the future, and he will create a product that looks amazing to the outside world. For example, various social apps, ideas in the era of smartphones, so-called internet thinking, etc. Definitely, starting a company to make money or something is not what Levi focuses on. He just plays idle chess. To make money, making movies is enough for him to earn, and the most important thing is that making movies can also allow him to exchange super abilities and black technology. Woolen cloth. After a period of publicity, Levi stayed at home again. It wasn't his house, but he couldn't think of anything to do for a while. He just wrote manuscripts at home every day, and he came from Mutant Academy for training. The first batch of mutant students willing to devote themselves to his star-making movement. Yes, he opened a training class to train these children who haven't even grown their hair yet. Speaking of children, there is a movie that is very suitable for them. Levi rubbed his chin. After 2 sci-fi masterpieces, it seems like a magical movie would be good. Moreover, the Harry Potter series is one of the 10 most lucrative series. The average box office of each film has exceeded 900 million, far surpassing the second-ranked Star Wars and the third-ranked Lord of the Rings. Beep. The doorbell rang, and Levi, who was lying leisurely by the pool, raised his head and glanced in the direction of the gate. Before she could ask, the figure of the Red Queen appeared beside him. "Master, it's Mr. Tony Stark." "Tony? What is he doing here?" The drag racing last time seemed to have caused a lot of excitement to this racing enthusiast, so that in the past few months, the CEO of the Stark Group, who seemed to have nothing to do, came running over from time to time, but during this time he suddenly disappeared. There has been no movement for almost 2 weeks. Let him in, and let the kitchen prepare an extra dinner. The huge box office of shapper-shifting King Kong is not comparable to the shabby scene of Biochemical 1, but Levi box office is box office, and points are points. The system only needs data, and it will not swallow his money. Therefore, Levi has become a new billionaire point, and with money, it's normal to live a good life point, not to mention the expansion of the mansion renovation. There is no shortage of all kinds of nannies, cooks, and servants. There are more than a dozen chefs alone, 8 from China, 1 from the 8 major cuisines, 1 from France, 1 from Italy, and 2 from Japan. Originally, Tony, who had no need for food, but only devoted himself to American cheeseburgers, had to admit that he underestimated the word food. After tasting the dinner at Levi as a result, Levi once suspected that he appeared in his home so frequently, most likely for the sake of eating. "Hey, how's your day?" Still in formal attire, regardless of the 30-odd degrees outside, insisting on dressing in suit and trousers, Tony appeared in front of Levi. Seeing Levi lying leisurely under the sun chair, drinking the top bartender. The important thing is, the martini made by the top bartender. Tony, who was a little dizzy from the sun, couldn't stand it anymore. The bartender took a glass of ice water and took 2 sips. When it came up, "I'm fine, but you, President Stark, when did you get so busy? You didn't show up for 2 weeks in a row. I thought you were captured by terrorists." Levi didn't move, enjoying the sea breeze blowing in from the outside of the house quietly. His swimming pool is suspended above the sea cliff, with the blue sea below, and he is now sitting by the sea, so he is very comfortable. "Busy? Oh, no, the word busy. Please stay away from me. To be precise, I'm creating a work that belongs to me." Levi tilted his head slightly, glanced at Tony, and chuckled. "Creation? What new weapon did you invent?" "Please, I'm not the military. Your weapon has been manufactured, and it has nothing to do with me. Could it be that you want me to make a movie for you, celebrate the 7-day-long holiday of National Day and enjoy reading books? Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge. Activity time, October 1st to October 7th. Chapter 46. Tony, who pretended not to be but was grassed. Make a movie for myself? Great, Tony Stark. Oh, that's a good idea, but that's not what I'm here for. Tony shook his head, and then he smiled mysteriously. Next, please prepare your words of praise, and then, witness the miracle. Tony's self-satisfied appearance aroused Levi's interest as well. It was not easy for this megalomaniac to study for 2 weeks. "Come in, Jarvis." Tony took out a Bluetooth headset from his pocket and put it on, then said softly, and at the end he didn't forget to wink at the glamorous bartender. Boom. The deep engine sound sounded, and the sound came from far and near, and gradually came to Levi and the others. Levi took a closer look and saw that it was a silver Audi R8 sports car, but it was a little different from the ones on the market. It should be Tony his own customized version, or what modifications he made himself. Why, you came all the way here just to show off your sports car to me? After drinking the wine in the glass, Levi put the glass on the table. He also likes sports cars, but when you have a Bumblebee, what other sports cars can catch your eye? Tony didn't answer Levi, but the smile on his face was more obvious, even a little undisguised. He seemed to have thought of Levi's surprised and exaggerated expression. Autobots, shapper shifting. I just heard Tony say lightly. In the next second, under the surprised eyes of Levi and others, that cool silver sports car seemed like someone was doing intense sports in it, and suddenly, every part started trembling. The rattling sound of metal impact made Levi feel very familiar, but as he expected, soon, the brood R8 seemed to be cursed, suddenly arched, and parts shifted one by one. A steel giant transformed from a car slowly stood up. Everyone, this is extreme speed. Tony opened his hands to everyone, with a smug expression on his face, and he even loudly introduced the name of the real shaper-shifting King Kong created by him. Point and over there, speed. Its shaper-shifting is finally done. My regards, sir. The familiar voice of Jarvis came from extreme speed, and Levi suddenly laughed. Whoa, Tony, I have to admit, I was a bit intimidated, but it's just a robot. He doesn't have life, and shaper-shifting King Kong is life. Levi gave a long laugh, and praised Tony's ability, which can turn a car into a shaper-shifting robot. In terms of this ability alone, Levi can't think of anyone more boring than him. To put it bluntly, this thing is a supersized figure, but the premise of getting this figure is to spend thousands of 8 million to buy an Audi R8. Well, in fact, the simple R8 is not too expensive, and the normal version is only $1 million. Definitely, Tony's is naturally not the normal version, but it is not as good as the modification of his Craftsman, inspired by someone's movie. Tony glanced at Levi, but found that his expression seemed to be calmer than he thought, which hurt him somewhat, but fortunately, the beautiful bartender with a sweet smile gave him some psychological comfort. I tried all the materials and engines on the market, and finally found a way to make this car capable of shaper-shifting into a robot, while still driving normally. In a way, it is shaper-shifting King Kong, especially when I can get Jarvis to control it remotely. However, Levi was still indifferent. After the initial surprise, his curiosity about the large robot was much less. Indeed, Tony's manual ability is a bit abnormal, but this large toy does not have practical functions. First of all, in terms of driving speed, it is definitely not as good as a real sports car, or even an ordinary family car. After all, they have a chassis, a transmission, and a big bar, and all the parts of this thing have been changed for shaper shifting. Levi can tell at a glance that this big guy's electric, because for shaper shifting, it can even have a fuel engine, and can only use a small electric motor. Secondly, even if this thing becomes a robot, it does not have the combat ability like shaper shifting King Kong. Not to mention, being able to resist missiles hard. It is estimated that 2 small pistols can make this guy miserable. Hey, what is that look on your face? Listen, I will never allow you to insult the work of genius. Omega. In Levi underground garage, watching the yellow Chevrolet Camaro turn into a somersaulting cute robot wearing a small mask and the real shaper shifting sound effects. Tony's eyes are bigger than bullseyes, and the whole person already insulted by Levi. Well, there was a strange sound from the sounder, and the Bumblebee looked at extreme speed standing in front of him suspiciously, looked at it for a long time, and then stretched out a finger and flicked it on the forehead lightly. Boom. The sound of heavy objects falling to the ground sounded, and huge amounts of the robot hit the ground heavily, completely broken. Bumblebee, who had done something wrong, shrank back with a little grievance on his face, but he didn't notice Tony's shining eyes beside him. Celebrate the 7-day-long holiday of National Day and enjoy reading books. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge. Activity time, October 1st to October 7th. Chapter 47. I want shares in the Stark Group. So, you're an alien? From the planet Cybertron? After finally calming down, watching Bumblebee sitting on the sidelines listening to the singer dance, while still holding an iron straw in his mouth, drinking freshly baked number 92 gasoline, he became even more curious about Levi's identity. He found that this man could always surprise him. At first he thought he was just a small director, but in the blink of an eye he became a hot figure in Hollywood. By an eye his global box office has exceeded 500 million. What is the concept of 500 million? How many directors can't reach the number in their lifetime? It can be said that before Biochemical One just let everyone know this talented director and thought he was very powerful, but now he is known by his full name. if it is said that Hollywood actresses who used to be willing to form a relationship with him and have dinner together, so now they just can't wait to lie on the bed and spread their legs towards Levi, the director. However, is just Levi's superficial identity. He is proficient in racing and is very interested in racing. Tony, who even invested in a team of his own, knows very well how much it is to be able to beat his Bugatti with a Camaro worth more than 100,000 yuan of terror. And now, there is another shapper-shifting King Kong living in Levi house, and it is also the main character who appeared in his movie, Bumblebee. Alien? No, 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 I'm a pure earthling. Levi smiled mysteriously, but this smile made Tony even more puzzled, and Levi's sense of mystery suddenly raised several levels in his heart. Levi is definitely intentional, funny, and it's a very interesting thing. In particular, it's even more interesting to play around with Tony, who is extremely smart and, crucially, very rich, and make him suspicious. In this world, is there really a planet called Cybertron, and is there really a shapper-shifting King Kong? Tony looked at Levi suspiciously and looked Bumblebee up and down point from his eyes. It is natural to see that the body structure of the Bumblebee is not like the speed he made himself. It is really made up of individual parts. The key to shapper-shifting King Kong is shapper-shifting metal, which can theoretically be decomposed infinitely. Therefore, it is better to say that shapper-shifting King Kong is a metal body than that they are made of water. Just like in the fourth part, Megatron was transformed into Galvation. His brand new body structure is actually their original appearance. Therefore, he can naturally tell that the Bumblebee is definitely not a robot. At least, it is not a shapper-shifting robot that can be produced by the technology on the Earth. He must come from the universe. But the problem is, aliens. This somewhat distracted him. If the planet Cybertron really exists, if the shapper-shifting King Kong really exists in the universe, then, what about the stories about Megatron and Optimus Prime in your movie? But as far as I know, but there is no NBE1. Our technology does not come from a guest in space. After all, Tony is the top part of the human world. Not only his money and power, but also his wisdom. It was easy for him to spot the loophole in the movie. Modern science and technology are very rigorous, and technology and theory are interdependent. The emergence of each new technology has a major relationship with theoretical breakthroughs. However, reverse research on Megatron will not lead to progress in human scientific theories. Levi interacted and played with the Bumblebee there, while Tony, who watched him get along very well with the Bumblebee, looked at the Bumblebee having fun and his extreme speed lying on the ground motionless. After paying half the price, he suddenly shyly moved to Levi's side. Well, can you? What the hell are you going to say? Levi glanced at this guy with distaste, but secretly delighted in his heart. It was rare to make an egomaniac narcissist behave like this. Well, do you still have shapper-shifting King Kong? Can you let me take one home? In fact, Tony knows that his request is a bit too much. After all, this is a real shapper-shifting King Kong, that is, a living alien, and, according to the explanation in the Levi movie, each of them is a living technology library. Even if it is only reversing their structures can bring huge amounts of progress to human technology. Want a shapper-shifting King Kong? Yes, but what do you get for it? Levi agreed very simply, which made Tony adamant that he still has more shapper-shifting King Kong, but at the same time he couldn't help but get excited. What do you want? Money? Tony said quickly. He is not short of money. Moreover, shapper-shifting King Kong originally has huge amounts of value. Even if he spends billions, tens of billions, he thinks it is totally worth it. No, Tony, don't be so vulgar. Talking about money hurts feelings. Levi hugged Tony's neck with an elegant and refined face, just when Tony thought he was really a white lotus growing out of clear water and treating money like dung. Levi said suddenly, I want a stake in the Star Corporation, celebrate the 7-day-long holiday of National Day and enjoy reading books. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge. Activity time, October 1st to October 7th. Chapter 48 Stock 10% shares. Hearing Levi request, Tony's first reaction was anger, but before the anger arose, he suddenly thought of it. It seems that this is the only thing he can get his hands on. The value of shape-shifting King Khan cannot be measured by any money. If nothing else, just study them casually, and the car engine technology on the earth can be raised several levels. Enough about those car companies breaking heads. Moreover, even in Tony's weapons factory, the demand for Cybertron technology is actually even greater. The energy weapon alone is enough to more than double the market value of the Stark Group. Even if the Stark Group is now at the top of the world, the weapons produced by Tony are synonymous with advanced. But the problem is, other people's 90 level, your 100 level, and others 90 level, your 1000 level is not a concept at all. The Stark Group now has the largest market share of high-end weapons, but if Tony succeeds in reverse engineering, he will no longer occupy the largest market share, and he will directly monopolize the entire high-end weapon market. Point by that time, even the President of the United States will have to act according to his face. Point therefore, Levi's request was not excessive at all, and even what he asked for was too little. Point if he goes to other weapons manufacturers, such as Boeing, General Motors, Hammer Industries, or Osborne Group, he can even use technology to become the largest shareholder, and there will be no objection. Point because once they form a monopoly, their profits will be dozens or even hundreds of times the current amount, and what they will lose is only a small share. How much do you want? After a long silence, Tony suddenly raised his head and said, Tony is a scientist, a playboy, and a weapons developer, but he is also a businessman. Point. Since he took over the Stark Group, the market value of the Stark Group has more than quintupled. After the death of his father, Howard Stark, the Stark Group has finally become the industry leader again. Point therefore, as an excellent businessman, Tony knows very well that no matter what, he must agree to Levi conditions and obtain Cybertron's technology, which is of great significance to him and the Stark Group. He'll get a chance to surpass his father Howard's. You know, in the Marvel world, the first atomic bomb was developed by Howard and Oppenheimer together. In fact, the first atomic bomb was entirely manufactured by the Stark Group. It is conceivable that with this kind of technology and qualifications, how invincible the Stark Group was at the beginning, gear was all present. However, Howard's accidental death left the Stark Group without a leader, and a villain like Opadri was behind the scenes. If Tony hadn't stood up to take over the banner of the Stark Group, it would not be long before this behemoth would be swallowed up by the pack of wolves. Exhausted, and Tony is just barely restoring the situation to the previous level, but it is far from enough to surpass the Stark Group under Howard's control. With some firm confidence, Tony asked, 10%. If you agree, I will send a shape-shifting King Khan warrior to follow you as a guard employee until you die. 4. Levi, this is a good deal. He can closely monitor Tony's every move. That is, everything about the Avengers Alliance in the future will be under his control. Point the creatures he summoned can spend points to make them loyal to him forever, and it is not a loss for him to put the shape-shifting King Khan next to Tony. As for asking for shares, he just wanted to dispel Tony's suspicion. If he gave it away for nothing, he would definitely have doubts, but even if he would be wary of something that he had spent a huge price on, it would reduce a lot. 10%. Talking about this data, Tony secretly estimated the current market value of the Stark Group, as well as the improvement brought about by the last time he released a new product and received an order from the military. Make a deal. Tony smiled. According to his estimation, as long as he makes a breakthrough in energy weapons or power technology, then, within 2 years at most, the market value of the Stark Group will increase by more than 10%. Ben. Definitely, it can't be counted that way, because this is a share, not real funds. At that time, Levi 10% of the shares will also be more valuable. But, generally speaking, from a business point of view, Tony still thinks it is very cost effective. Well, which shape-shifting King Kong are you going to give me? Him? Tony pointed to the Bumblebee over there. Levi shook his head quickly. No, the Bumblebee is mine. Well, let's see. The characters that have appeared in the movie, except for Megatron, Optimus Prime, Bumblebee, Soundwave and his spy troops, you can choose whatever you want. Soundwave is Levi intelligent captain, so naturally he can't sell it to Tony, and Bumblebee is a dream, who didn't expect to have a cute Bumblebee when watching a movie. As for Dasuzi and Zenshin, these two are gods in the shaper-shifting King Kong. Their strength and knowledge are far beyond that of ordinary shaper-shifting King Kong. Therefore, they are too expensive, and everyone needs to. As for 1 billion points, Levi said he couldn't afford it. Points celebrate the 7-day-long holiday of National Day and enjoy reading books. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge. Activity time, October 1st to October 7th. Chapter 49. Signing the contract. The third largest shareholder of the Stark Group. Why not Megatron? Oh, no, I like that big guy, you know, he's very cool. It fits my temperament very much. Levi frowned and almost wanted to give this guy a knife, but he still had to explain, since everyone spent money, the customer is God. Megatron, you can't control him. If you want to run around every day cleaning up the mess he made, thinking every day from now on how to save the world from this guy, I can let him out. It is impossible for Megatron to come out. This guy is one of the evil gods of the shaper-shifting King Kong civilization. First of all, he came from an extraordinary background. He studied under the fallen King Kong Megatron, one of the 13 ancestors. Yes, they have the same name, because the latter worships the former that one, so he also changed his name to Megatron. Secondly, in the follow-up contact with the Emperor of the Universe, Megatron was infiltrated too much by the dark power of the universe, and finally became the human carrier of the Emperor of the Universe, that is, Jingvation. People who are resurrected from the dead are very terrifying. For such a guy, selling 1 billion is not expensive. It can only be said that it is worth the money. Moreover, combat power is only part of it. Megatron himself is the leader of Cybertron, the leader of the Decepticons. He single-handedly planned a huge revolutionary movement. The Autobots, who are lower than the civilian robots, were the ones who appeared and led the Decepticons. Reversing the process, he is not only a soldier, but also a top strategist, statesman, and revolutionist. So many Decepticons tried their best to revive him and rescue him. He died again and again, and stood up again and again. Except for a few ambitious people, like Starscream, who betrayed him, the rest of the Decepticons have always followed his leadership. His charisma is evident. So, what Levi said is still half-truth. Megatron's ability is indeed as he said. Tony can't control it, but due to the function of the system, if it is exchanged, Megatron will obey his orders. After discussing for a long time, finally, Tony reluctantly left with his new younger brother. In front of him, Levi exchanged an Autobot that could definitely meet his needs, sir. With the same coquettish personality, these two people are definitely a good match. Shapper shifting into the silver R8 that Tony drove over, Jazz took Tony back. As for the payment, that is, the 10% of the shares, Levi was not worried that Tony would break his promise. After all, even if Jazz followed Tony, he still listened to him. Not long after seeing off Tony, Levi, who had enjoyed a leisurely afternoon, realized that the good times had passed. The 3 women who had gone shopping returned. The quiet house has become a stage again. 2 women are 100 ducks. What about the 3 women? After such a long time, these 3 people have become familiar with each other for a long time. In fact, it's hard not to know each other well. Natasha Romanoff is a top-level agent. She is very good at interpersonal communication and so on. The 2 little sisters are just easy for her. As for Sky and Wanda, they have very similar experiences, the same loneliness, the same life on the street, but Wanda is slightly better than Sky, in that she has a big brother. After staying at home for a few days, writing and drawing, and getting a lot of things, Levi finally went out. This time, he went to sign a contract. Tony convinced the board of directors. Definitely, he didn't say it was shapper shifting King Kong. He just said that he got the new technology, and he gave a brief report on the energy core technology he got from the Jazz. Tony himself holds more than 30% of Stark Group shares, not more than 40%, and the other major shareholder, Bumblebee, is only slightly lower than him, holding 20%. The 2 of them add up. You have an absolute controlling stake. Because of this, a few years later, when Tony used his own Mark III to fight Iron Overlord, Abade died suddenly, and Tony took advantage of the situation to get all his shares into his arms, which made him have absolute control over the Stark Group. Only then did he have the right to appoint his own occult Pepper as the new president of the Stark Group at will point, and this time, he definitely want to use his shares to please Levi. Actually, because there is no need. Similar to this situation, the method is very simple. Just dilute the equity with financing. Use the group's money to buy Levi technology, and then use the money to buy shares in the Stark Group. When Tony and Opedry both agree, no one else has the right to object. Point then, either they continue to add money, and they have to add a lot of money, otherwise, they can only watch their shares be diluted, and the extra shares belong to Levi. Well, you are now the third largest shareholder of the Stark Group. Tony handed a glass of champagne to Levi, and he seemed very happy. He had gained a lot of inspiration and practical gains through studying jazz, and because of this, he felt very wise about his decision. Hey, Tony, this is our third largest shareholder. Pour me a glass. I want to chat with this young man, celebrate the 7-day-long holiday of National Day and enjoy reading books. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge. Activity time, October 1st to October 7th. Chapter 50. The Assassin in the Night. One more. A bald old man with a big belly and a grey beard walked in. This was Tony's office, and there were only two people who could come in without asking. Pepper and Opedry. Tony smiled lightly. From what he saw now, Opedry was still his closest and most trusted person, half of his relatives. Tony was delighted with the bad day's arrival and the interest he showed in Levi. Hello. Levi raised his wine glass and gestured to the old silver coin that had been hidden for many years. He had a standard smirk on his face. Definitely, with someone like him whose acting skills are already full, no one thinks that this smile is fake. Hey, I heard Tony say, you're a director? Thanks. Smiling and taking the wine glass handed over by Tony, Abade looked at Levi with a smile on his face, and the smile on his face was also fake. So fake that Levi felt a little sick. Sometimes, it is not a good thing to have a good eye. After all, when others are acting in front of you, you can tell at a glance that it is a bit too much. Yes, I'm a director. I'm more interested in recording and depicting the illusions in people's minds. Levi watched Opedry nodding there, but thought in his heart, should he reveal Opedry's true face to Tony in advance? Oh, I like your way of saying that movies are the seventh great art of human beings, right? You see, I know these things well. However, I still prefer movie stars, female stars. Abade showed an expression that any man could understand. However, Tony has done better than me in this aspect. I have to say, Tony, I still like the cover girl last time. I plan to develop the same relationship with her, and even want to make a movie for her. Oh, which one are you talking about? Sorry, I should have said, which day? Levi didn't care when he saw that the topic was changed instantly, and he started talking nonsense with these two unscrupulous guys. After chatting, Abade smiled and got up, and then left the space for Levi and the others. I still have something to do. Let's go first. Abade turned around with a smile and strode out. Don't worry, he is such a bold person. Definitely, your uncle are not as old-fashioned as you think. Holding the wine glass, Levi was smiling all over his face, but his eyes were staring at the closed door, as if he could see through it, and saw Opedry, whose complexion suddenly became gloomy, and with a sullen expression on his face, he was notifying others to investigate his details. Bring yourself to shame, Levi said silently in his heart. At night, Levi, who had already fallen asleep, suddenly opened his eyes. He was very energetic, and he looked at something without any sign of fatigue, with the corners of his mouth raised. Gently taking Sky's arm away, Levi moved as quietly as possible, not wanting to wake her up. She had just fallen asleep, and Levi had sowed a lot of life seeds on her body that had been strengthened and became more attractive. Putting on a pair of trousers and no levy, he tiptoed out, making his way downstairs without disturbing anyone. Until then, he seemed a little more casual. Walking on the cold floor with bare feet, Levi walked to the refrigerator, opened the refrigerator door, took a can of drink out of it, and looked back somewhere in the living room. I gave you a chance. Since you don't want to come out, then I can only ask you to come out. The casual smile and the attitude of not taking any threats into consideration seemed to have angered the people lurking in the dark. Levi opened the drink in his hand, and the sound of the gas was so clear in the quiet night. And just when Levi put the drink to his mouth and started to drink, suddenly, there was a soft sound, as if the sound of something piercing the air was hidden in the thud of Levi swallowing the drink. Tun tun. Levi breathed a sigh of relief. Happy water is still delicious. No wonder it is called happy water. After sighing for a while, he looked at the things in his hands and saw a small dark silver flying darts lying in his palm. The flying darts were so small that it was not even as big as one of his fingers, but even so, if the weapon hit his neck just now and inserted it, it would be enough to kill him. The premise is that he is an ordinary person. I thought you were going to shoot me with a gun. After a long time, you are playing cold weapons. Go. With a sarcasm on Levi's face, his eyes suddenly froze. His right hand seemed to disappear in the void for a moment, and then heard the same subtle and invisible tearing air sounds appear. Well, the sharp flying darts, even in the darkness, hit the target accurately. Hearing the other party's painful groan, Levi raised his head again, drank the whole can of Binkyolo between gurgles, and then in the next second, a tooth-piercing voice sounded. The empty can was squeezed into a ball by Levi, and it became smaller and smaller, and finally turned into an iron ball point. Then he closed his palms together, and the iron ball turned into a sheet of thin paper again. He pulled his hands again, and suddenly, a sharp dagger appeared in his hand point, and at this time, the person in the darkness finally rushed out. Celebrate the 7-day-long holiday of National Day and enjoy reading books. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge. Activity time, October 1st to October 7th. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 51. A bad day. You are courting death. Snapped. Levi rejoiced secretly. Fortunately, he reacted quickly and remembered that this was his living room. Otherwise, wouldn't it be a bloody stab when the knife cut it down? Although it is said that aunt is hired for cleaning, it is always bad to see such a puddle when the girl wakes up early tomorrow morning. Accidentally came to a sink, and I also came to a beach, and that night Levi could only comfort himself. Snapped. The dagger pulled from the coke can turned into a ruler and slapped the person who rushed out again and again. Levi enjoyed the pleasure of beating people to the fullest, but the uninvited guest who should have been killed by him was suffering. Can't tell. The ruler made of iron sheet is like a steel whip under Levi's incomparably strong hands. Although he is wearing clothes, every time it hits the body, it can still cause bone deep pain. What? This person finally couldn't bear it anymore and cried out in pain. However, the most important thing about this kind of sea view room is the sound insulation effect. Otherwise who could sleep with the sound of crashing waves? So even though the guy was out there whimpering, the sweat absorbing, tight-fitting night suit was completely soaked in blood. Bright red under the lights Levi turned on. Well, I can't call anymore, and I will hang up if I call again. Seeing that this unknown killer had already started to twitch on the spot and couldn't even dodge, Levi knew that he should stop. He still had to keep his life alive. Otherwise, how would he know who was planning this matter behind the scenes? In fact, he knew from the beginning when this guy came in that the Red Queen was monitoring the entire house, and even a large area around the house was being monitored by her. However, when he learned that this guy sneaked in, Levi stopped the queen. To be honest, his life was a bit boring. Because it was too early, the drama of the Avengers Alliance had not yet been staged. His usual life was to shoot. He is not in the mood to go out to play other than making movies. After all, the current technology is far behind compared with 10 years later, and the age of intelligence has not yet come. Everything is so troublesome that he is too lazy to go out. Now, after finally meeting a killer who doesn't know how to live or die, and an organization that dares to attack him, why don't you have a good time with them? Throwing the iron sheet in his hand into the trash can casually, looking at the killer in front of him twitching wildly, with hands and feet dancing involuntarily, Levi stepped forward, grabbed the opponent's neck with one hand, and then looked straight into the opponent's eyes. Look at me. Levi gave a soft drink accompanied by his inductive movements with majestic mental power. This guy, who was already somewhat delirious, suddenly entered the state of being hypnotic ability. Levi, who is familiar with the hypnotic ability technique, coupled with his own strong spiritual power, although he cannot directly cover his own spirit and enter other people's minds like Charles and Wanda, but it is still possible to control others like this. Soon, the answers to each question came out from the killer's mouth, and Levi finally let go of his hand. Walk to the beach by yourself. Jump off with a rock in your arms. Remember, don't let go even if you die. After planting a spiritual suggestion in the killer's heart, Levi watched the guy walk out of his house step by step. Under the surveillance of the Red Queen, he walked to the seaside, and then jumped into the sea by himself with a stone in his arms. A baddie, you are looking for death. The voice was low and faded away, and Levi quickly returned to the room, and continued to sleep. Early the next morning, after breakfast, Levi came to the underground garage. Soon, the Red Queen connected to the outer space, controlling the sound waves of a certain military satellite. Well, enter the SHIELD database and find me information about a baddie. As the second largest shareholder of the Stark Group, Opera's information can already be regarded as a state secret. However, no matter how secret it is, it can always be found in SHIELD, and the SHIELD database is equivalent to Levi, its home point with Soundwave. To be honest, there is no firewall in this world that he cannot break through. A moment later, a compressed package was directly transmitted by sound waves, and all kinds of information about a baddie appeared in front of Levi's eyes. Oh, little boy, you're in trouble. After seeing these SHIELD at a glance, or the information collected by Hydra hidden under the shell of SHIELD, Levi laughed. It seems that we can't wait for the Iron Overlord to appear. Mr. Abade, we have to get the bento in advance. Well, wait, this video. Levi paused suddenly, and a slightly familiar video appeared in his eyes. It was during the Civil War, or rather, the video that Zemo, who was called the trigger of the Civil War, showed Tony, and this video he spent a lot of time finding from the collection of SHIELD about the video of Howard Stark and Mariah Stark being assassinated to death. Sure. Enough. Abade said that he asked someone to kill Howard himself, and then it happened again, and Hydra sent little Bucky to kill him. Then, if neither side is lying, the only explanation is that Abade has something to do with Hydra. What? Celebrate the 7-day-long holiday of National Day and enjoy reading books. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge. Activity time, October 1st to October 7th. Chapter 52 Shoot Wonder Woman. Third watch. The appearance and existence of Hydra. Levi is not surprised. They have been hiding under the skin of SHIELD. Abade has been at large for so long. Even if he murdered the founder of SHIELD, there is no problem at all. Definitely Hydra helped him cover it up. Therefore, it should be within Levi's expectation that Hydra is standing behind Abade. That's even more interesting. A mere operator can solve it without me even having to do it myself. However, with the addition of a Hydra organization, it can be played next time. Levi looked interested. Hydra is not inferior to SHIELD, however, such a powerful organization is actually only strong on the outside, at least. To people at Levi level, it is nothing at all. Anxious. Levi directly exchanged for an army of zombies to fight with you. Shapeshifting King Kong is valuable, but if you think about a zombie army like a nemesis, a tyrant, a butcher, or even a licker, those points are just a drizzle for Levi. It has changed too, that he has won almost 800 million box office in the world. Even if it costs a little to exchange for Bumblebee, Sonic Legion and Jazz, he still has nearly 600 million points on hand, which can already be exchanged for a Cybertron landing ship. If it was exchanged for zombies, even an armored brigade of the Mimi army would not be a problem. Definitely, he won't be so wasteful. Resident Evil 2 has already been filmed, and his next step is to make a movie with real high-end military power. A Wonder Woman tailor-made for Natasha Romanoff has been put on the agenda, and once it is released, Levi can exchange for divine power. Everything has been arranged, and after determining the goal, Levi began to devote himself to filming the film. Similarly, this time it is invested by his Marvel Entertainment, except for the last fairy fight that requires a lot of special effects shots, though the biggest cost of this movie is actually on Paradise Island. For this reason, Levi specially bought a small island in the western waters of Europe. He plans to settle here if he has nothing to do in the future and retires. Definitely, no male creatures, except him, are allowed to enter. I always feel that you have bad intentions, since the long shots ahead were all shot on Paradise Island, and this daughter country needs a lot of high quality beauties to fill the gap. It can't be a big island, just a few people, right? So, Levi took Tony and ran to the Victoria's Secret backstage for a grand casting event, so the current scene appeared. In front of Levi and other crew members, nearly 100 female soldiers in cool clothes and leather armor that can only cover their vital parts are drinking and drinking, waving their weapons and practicing. Natasha Romanoff and the actors who played Queen Hippolyta and her aunt Antiope stood among the crowd. As Levi dropped the card, many actors relaxed, and the supermodels who had fun over there suddenly liberated their natures, and laughed there, looking very seductive. Although we are very familiar outside, I will sue you for slander if you talk nonsense like this. Besides, with a beauty like you by my side, why should I look at others? Levi seemed to have been smeared with honey, and Natasha Romanoff didn't seem to expect him to change the subject so quickly. After being stunned for a moment, a blush appeared on his face, and then walked away with a smile. Sometimes, not everyone's praise will make a woman happy. If you want to impress other people's hearts, the most important thing is the person, not your words. The same thing is said 10,000 times by others. To Natasha Romanoff, it is just boring and false. However, for Levi, it can make her feel like a deer, as if looking back at the training, the first time she saw that the instructor who trained them, the instructor who was specially invited to play with their hearts, later, that guy seemed to be dismembered by them. The shooting progress was getting faster and faster. Levi's vigorous energy and superb directing skills made everything easier, but they still encountered some troubles. Director, can you make some changes to this dress? Because it is on the set, Natasha Romanoff is facing other people, so she calls Levi the director's name, and at this moment, she is holding a dress that looks a little revealing. This is the scene in the castle and the root of all evil that is widely circulated on the internet. That is, in order to find out whether General Adolf is heirs, Diana and Steve sneaked into the castle, and Diana took off the clothes of a passing lady, and then tore it up, and made it into a blue dress. Enter the party to meet General Adolf Point, and her Vulcan sword, the legendary weapon that can kill gods, is hung on her back. There have been many scenes in the film. The location of the placement and the structure of the dress, once pulled out, Diana will instantly glow 11. So a GIF picture was made by netizens and widely circulated. Point, and now, Natasha Romanoff is holding the dress and looking like she has encountered a problem. What's the matter? This dress isn't too revealing, is it? At least, it's much better than a bikini. Levi looked at Natasha Romanoff with some puzzlement. The latter gritted his teeth after hesitation for a long time, and pulled Levi to a room beside him, then rolled up his clothes, exposing his slender waist that could not be grasped. Look by yourself. 4 updates are guaranteed every day. Something happened yesterday, so there are only 2 updates. Sorry. Ask for flower collection. Celebrate the 7-day-long holiday of National Day and enjoy reading books. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge. Activity time, October 1st to October 7th. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.